What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea. If you're not aware, if you're not our age, maybe you do or don't know, but we're opening with the X-Men theme this week, and you probably know why. So, welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea. We are at episode 40.
40, Eddie! 40! We're middle-aged!
We're almost our own age now.
In 20 more episodes, we can retire. We won't, but we could.
We can't retire until
do
actually
that.
97.
I need content.
No, never. I'm enjoying myself way too much.
But thanks for joining us, whether it's on the live Facebook stream, if you're joining us on YouTube, if you're joining us on Twitter, if you're joining us on Instagram, or if you're listening to the audio-only version, wherever you found your podcast. Thanks. We super appreciate it. And, so we got a new face with us, sort of new face. With us, we got the boss. We got Steve Faraci.
What's up,
making
fellas?
his Granny's Peach Tea debut.
I cannot believe I've been such a degenerate that I have not joined this show. But Jason, as you said earlier, I do watch and comment. I just can't believe I haven't been on the show yet. But what better moment?
Wait for that right moment, right? And this is it.
This is it.
I kind of figured you were waiting for the right moment to strike, and as there, I don't know who know, maybe some don't know, but Faraci's a huge Spider-Man fan also.
I am huge. But do I have anything back here? Yeah, I got a few things back here, a couple toys.
Nice.
I got pops. I got this is the Far From Home. We got here. What else we got here? We got. Sorry, this is just Spider-Man. I'm just showing that.
Love it.
That's really cool.
That's I got that when I went to the game at Citi Field a couple years ago.
Nice.
And of course, I got this guy here, and I got a bunch more around somewhere. Spider-Man, baby.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking a whole lot of Spider-Man.
Whole lot of Spider-Man
tonight as we continue our journey through the live-action Spider-Verse. And we have our next stop. Our next stop is the Amazing Spider-Man 2, back from 2014. So we'll be getting to that, in due time. But a big trailer dropped just last night. We got our latest Spider-Man No Way
Home trailer.
That's what I heard. I was at the Ranger game, and Angie nudges me, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, it's almost 8:30. I wonder what it is. I know. Oh, that's right. I have something to go share out, with everybody that I know. So there it is.
Every single person.
Everybody, all the shares.
Did you see in the main Pop Culture Pros chat that we have, Kyle jumps in and says, "Don't spoil anything for me." Then he watches the trailer and immediately starts talking about it in the chat.
God. I was trying to avoid it because I'll admit, I shared it out before I even watched it because I was at the Ranger game and I couldn't hear it. But I was like, I have to at least look at what happens because we know what some of the things we were looking for.
Yeah. So it was just a pure facial expression at something that you could not hear. So everybody was looking around. The Rangers could be down by 4 goals, and he's like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!"
Yeah, I'm saying and everyone's reacting. I'm like, "Oh!" So yeah, that was it. Well, I knew Tim could not help himself.
Timmy,
yeah.
That's Tappy. He's got a new name. His name is Tappy. Because I went to say Tim and Happy at the same time, and I just said Tappy. So
that's
it.
Tappy. I'm Tappy.
So
Ed,
what's up?
Did you like the trailer?
I don't know. I'll let you know at the end of this segment. Well, we got 2 quick comments here. We got CEO Pop Culture Pros in this episode. Let's go. Alex is super hyped up. He's been waiting for the trailer probably just as much as I was, or Tim's son Jax was, because they were both going nuts for it too. And Jonathan, Spidey has always been my favorite. Jonathan, I couldn't agree with you more. He's always been my guy. Got a couple of things behind me. Yeah, it's a great choice.
Yeah, a couple.
He's my
2 or 3
he's
things.
He's my number 2, but that's only because I worship Batman as a god.
But me and Jason, we have an understanding, and we've had many discussions over many beers and bars over the years, because Batman's my number 2. So
Yeah.
we flip flop there, and we've compared the characters. Yeah, so we got
Queen-
a lot of
Queens
Yeah.
represent. Queens
Yeah.
represent. That's all I'm
There you
saying.
go. Many queens holding the wall bar nights.
There it
We're
is.
sitting there on the end of a bar, drunk, talking about Spider-Man and Batman.
Sitting there drunk, going, "You think Peter Parker would drink in this bar, or you think it's beneath him? I mean, he's
So?
poor, all right."
Listen, if the next time I'm up there, we don't go do that, yous are all fired.
I'm in.
doing it.
Let's do it.
We're
I got a
doing it.
perfect couple of bars to think of.
I'm just waiting for you to say you're coming, and I'm booking the karaoke room. And we're gonna
soon.
go nuts.
I will know
And
soon.
We're gonna go nuts.
All right, so let's jump into it. Let's get in because there's a lot of over dissecting going on of the trailer. Probably. I guess let's get to the main thing. Okay, and Farachi, I want to hear what you got to say about this. Were you disappointed that we didn't see Toby or Andrew Garfield in this, or do you even believe that they're in this film?
100% believe that they're in this film.
Okay, both.
Both.
Okay.
Maybe it's the over dissecting, or maybe I'm falling for screenshots and looking at where people are kind of headed towards, like certain individuals are just flying past one Spider-Man and going towards another. But I will. So you didn't have the same experience because you didn't hear it. But when Doc Ock says, "You're not Peter," that gave me goosebumps.
Me too.
And I think I said something before my son did. I was like, "Holy crap! You know what that means? It means he knows Peter,
him.
but that's not Peter. What's happening?"
All right. But did you think they were going to be in this trailer? I'm
didn't
not
know.
surprised. No.
I'm 100% not surprised that we're not in this trailer. I'm happy that they were not in the trailer. If it does come to fruition that they're in it, I'm happy that they weren't in there because too often these days it's just too much in the trailer, and then I try and stay away from as many trailers as I can.
Me too.
So this one I couldn't do, but that's my plan going into trailers.
Okay. All right. So, Tim, I mean, I show your facial expression, but for those who are listening too, you're not surprised at all we didn't see them.
I'm not shocked we didn't see them because that's the game that people play nowadays. You got to have everything locked up and put away to the last very moment. Do I believe they're in it? 1,000,000%. I believe that both of them are in it.
Okay.
Both, without a doubt in my mind, they're both in it. And I would.
Are we going to create a pool?
And
I think we should. I think we should.
I'd go in on that.
I know we're going to get to it. I like it though, but I know we're going to get to it. But the end of the trailer where he says they're coming, and I can't stop them. I think we're going to see a shitload, even if it's just for half a second. We're going to see some ridiculous characters coming through those goddamn whatever you want to call. I think we're going to see something really crazy. I mean, I'm talking Spider-Verse crazy. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Tim, that's all we're doing right now. We're speculating because we have no inside info, so we're just playing shitty super sleuths, I guess, if you want to say. We're trying. Jason, your thoughts. Were you surprised, disappointed about not seeing them?
Nope, not at all. I did not expect to see them. I fully think Tobey Maguire's in this 100%. Andrew Garfield, I'm not sure. My holdout for Andrew Garfield is he's really insistent he's not in this goddamn movie. He is really like Tobey Maguire says nothing, and he's just like, "Oh man, piss off! I'm not in your goddamn Spider-Man movie," So it's like I'm not sure about him. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Tobey Maguire definitely is in this movie. And no, not only am I not disappointed I didn't see them, I don't want to see them. I want this. I want to see them when it's on the big screen. Like what this showed me was what I wanted to see. It expanded on Dr. Octopus's role. It showed me the actual Green Goblin is there. It showed some other villains that I didn't know was going to be in there. This trailer is everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would have been pretty surprised. I was like, maybe at the most it would be like a silhouette of some sort towards the end of the trailer. But I said before, though, I'm pretty confident Tobey Maguire's in this movie. I'm not so sure about Andrew Garfield, though. Some of his comments about maybe not having a good time with his time during Spider-Man. Some people
could see that.
Some people didn't have a great time watching his Spider-Man as well. I just don't. No, I'm just saying, like, I just don't think he's as beloved of a past Spider-Man as Tobey Maguire is. Like, Tobey Maguire is pretty universally beloved. Andrew Garfield's like mixed, and I kind of feel like Kevin Feige would steer that in a direction like maybe we don't want to rehash that, even though. But the only evidence we have that I would say that leads me to believe he's still in it is that Lizard and Electro are in it, even though they look different. They do look different.
He got that clean cut, man. Got that
got a haircut. I mean, maybe it's because he's playing Tyson and the bioepic still. I don't know. I mean, that could be it.
Or maybe it's because Kevin Feige went, no, we're going to use them, but we're going to make them good.
Yeah, like we'll get to our discussion with Electro later.
Wasn't talking about Electro. That could have been applied to the Lizard. I was not breaking my promise, Ed.
Yes. No, but the Lizard actually looks like a lizard now instead of like, as we talked about, like King Koopa from the old Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
I can text you too.
Yeah, that was rough.
Okay.
All right, so I guess too is we're going to be thinking of Doc Ock in this trailer because we get a lot of Doc Ock in this and a lot of dialogue from Doc Ock and Doctor Strange.
I think Doc Ock, this is how I read it, and I don't, this could go anywhere, but it looks like Doc Ock is kind of helping them, at least in the trailers. And I got the impression there's the scene where Doctor Strange says, yeah, their fate is to die fighting all these multiverse Spider-Men, and Peter's isn't happy about that. I kind of get the sense he wants to save Doc Ock. And then, so I was, and by the way, bad teacher, because I've been talking about this with my students all day instead of actually teaching them. Because they go,
it's history.
It is history, right? So they think, my students are convinced that Dr. Octopus is playing Peter Parker. So I just wanted to throw their thoughts. I didn't see that, but they did, so I'm throwing that out there.
All right. Tim?
I'm kind of leaning him towards being on the good side. I think the fact that we see a little red in his tentacles is possibly a Stark upgrade.
Stark tech. I was kind of thinking to help
possibly
him, like not control. Remember, like if the arm's not controlling his brain.
Right.
Well, yeah. Plus, remember it. Plus, remember it's just a little swip of that. Let's start that again. Flip of that switch in the back of his neck to make him have control again. And like I said, I think the red in there is Stark tech, and I think he's going to end up helping. And I was talking to Jax about this. I don't think he's one of the six. I said, so who's the six? Tell me who. And that's where the big debate began. And so it was a lot of.
Let's get into that soon.
So yeah, I think he's kind of leaning towards the good side.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, So I am leaning that way, and typically in a typical movie, you can say, oh, they shared that little laughter scene, but that could be anything in the Spider-Man movie. Yeah. The sarcasm flows, guys. Yeah. So when he's introducing himself, says his name, and they kind of chuckle and laugh. Great, I love it. But I do think he is kind of siding on their side.
Yeah, and apparently,
Bert
agrees with us. He's right on board. Yeah,
I think he wasn't a villain. He really wasn't a villain.
That's the thing.
He was redeemed at the end of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
he dies a hero in that movie. I mean, I think you and I made that argument, Ed. He dies a hero because he makes the big sacrifice.
Oh, well, then we got opposing thoughts on this. Alex is saying, I don't like the fact that Doc Ock isn't really a villain in this film. We also don't know this for sure.
We don't. Yeah.
Pure speculation.
Yeah. No idea. Let's not making judgments going to hold him.
Alex is already pissed off. He's done.
He's done.
2 stars.
That's it. I'm going on Rotten Tomatoes now.
Yes, right now.
Verified.
Verified. Yes, definitely. Yeah, and some of the stuff Doctor Strange says, though, and I think it can lead us to what the villains that we see are. And then he tells them that, Peter, you're kind of fighting ghosts. Mm-hmm. All these people were fated and died fighting Spider-Man, which, again, in us watching these films, even rehashing them recently, that's not entirely true, though. Like, the Sandman didn't die, as
he just
Tim's favorite scene.
That's all he does.
So what's up with that part of it? I guess, like Sandman didn't die. He's in the movie. He's front and center confirmed as one of the villains that were right there now. Like, Green Goblin was confirmed in the poster. Sandman's confirmed now. Lizard's confirmed. Electro, which we all knew about, who was all but confirmed, now is there. Electro died. Lizard didn't die either, as we saw in the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right.
So Bert makes a good point here. I've tried as many times as I've heard. I've watched the trailer. I cannot tell if so. He says die, and I thought first he said died, but just because he says they eventually, well, I don't. Now he's mixing words here. He's creating new words for Doctor Strange. But if he said that they all die, it saying that they all die could mean now. You know, maybe it's the next. You know, maybe Sandman dies in the next universe. You know, but it's going to be interesting. But or for sure, he didn't die before. You know, he just kind of flew off.
Or he died eventually because we're assuming that universe kept going. Maybe
that's true.
Maybe Spider-Man had an interaction with Sandman eventually, and he did die. We don't know
we'll
that.
see it. Maybe we'll see it now.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Death of Sandman.
Yes. She comes all but flying back into there. So then I guess with the villains that we have confirmed, Tim mentioned the Sinister Six, which I think we all agree that's who the essential villains of the movie will be. So we have Electro now. We have Lizard. We have the Sandman. Okay. We have the Green Goblin. So who's missing? If we don't think Doc Ock is one, then there are others, which there's a certain post-credit, mid-credit scene that was set up as crossing over to this universe. Venom.
Yep.
Could he be one of the Sinister Six, or could he be helping Spider-Man fight them?
I think he's going to be helping Spider-Man because again, that Venom is not a bad guy. Like he's not like
he's
the
just
Venom
hungry.
He's just hungry. That's it. And goofy and a loser, as he tells us every goddamn sentence of that movie. Honestly, I think this is my thought, because all of the villains in this movie are from other Spider-Man movies. I think the MCU, what they're hiding by giving us all these other villains in the trailer, is they've got an original villain stash. Like I think maybe we'll see like the Scorpion. They've set the Scorpion up in the Far From Home. In Homecoming. Maybe we'll get the Vulture back.
That's someone who's out there.
It's someone who's out there. So I think the one we're missing, and they're trying to misdirect us, is going to be an actual Spider-Man MCU villain.
Okay.
Mojo, yes! Mojo is the sixth member.
This is like the NWO. Who's the sixth guy?
That's
exactly.
I remember.
Farachi, who do you got? Your money on the two other potential members of the Sinister Six?
No, my son and I were talking about it yesterday, and he mentioned he mentioned Vulture a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Do you think Vulture's going to be on?" I don't know, but he said he was going through some of the ones from the other movie and talked about Rhino, and I'm like, that's a letdown. Don't go that route. He was just like throwing stuff out there, and let's stay away from that. But having Venom and Vulture in there, if Doc Ock is gonna be get the face turn and help out, that'll be very interesting. Yep.
Tim, since you and Jax were debating this or talking about this, like, what did you guys come up with?
Oh, I don't think it's Mysterio. I think he is actually going to be dead.
Okay.
I think, but I do think we need two MCU Spider-Man villains. I am going to guess Scorpion is out of jail. He's going to be my number one.
He was set up, yeah.
And I guess I would go with Vulture. I think they're the ones that get out of jail. They're gonna, he's gonna want to kill Peter eventually. And let me just say, if Andrew Garfield, because we're going to talk about this, everyone's screen capturing that one.
That's where we're leading to.
Yeah.
But I like what you said. If it's not Andrew Garfield, then I think it's going to be Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, Venom. That's just what I think. If it's not Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, that's what I think it's going to be. So I think we are going to get Venom in this movie. It was set up perfectly. But if my two villains, I'm going to go. I think, like you said, Jason, I think it's time to introduce somebody new. We're going to get our first shot at Scorpion, definitely. Vulture, we don't know yet because he's going to be in the Jared Leto vampire movie, so
Yeah,
you don't know what's going to happen with that yet. But I like the idea of Scorpion.
Yeah. So the other Sinister Six member that was set up in the previous MCU Spider-Man films is Shocker.
Right, I was going to ask.
Right. We also did get Shockers. Joaquin Woodbine's kind of just floating around there, and
he wasn't killed, right? He didn't die in that movie. So yeah,
no, the original.
The original.
Well, the
original.
Yeah.
Here you go. You're Shocker now.
Which that I think would be interesting, giving us a new one, which is the Scorpion, and then giving us the Shocker, which we got a little bit of, but not enough. I think that would be a wise choice on their part.
And the Tinker is still out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the Chameleon. That's a good one too.
There's so many.
The Tinker is still tinkering, so he could also be building all this shit for their guys.
Yeah, but my whole thing is I don't think the Tinker is like Sinister Six level villain. He's kind of like
obviously, Ed, obviously you've never read his origin, where he runs a radio shop and he sells radios at a discount so he can help aliens take over the planet. Obviously, you've never read that one.
Obviously, I missed that one. I mean, that's a given.
Come on, man. He's deserving. Just based on that. I mean.
All right, so Jonathan, my only issue with Chameleon is that I don't think they're going to set up time for a new villain to be introduced. I think we got a lot going on in the film, so I think you kind of got to use whoever's set up or who was in a previous film.
Jonathan's throwing some stuff out there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm seeing a lot of this. These comments, dude, guys, keep them coming.
I would love. Look, if Wilson Fisk shows up and it's D'Onofrio, forget it. I'm done. My head's gonna explode with joy.
The crowds are gonna go insane, and you're not gonna be hearing any of the dialogue. Just gonna be going nuts. Hey, can you pause the flick for a second?
Did you see the reaction to the fan event that they had in LA?
Yes,
that was crazy. That was pretty cool. Get a chance to check that out.
They were going crazy for the guys that we already saw. Like,
exactly.
It was great though.
Yeah, so we got other comments here. This continuing theme of MCU Spider-Man battling and doing the right thing versus what he wants. I don't know who this is going to end, but it's going to be the same. Yeah, probably. I think he's definitely going to be making a sacrifice of some sort.
That's the whole choice thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It dates back to the Toby. Now choose.
Exactly.
MJ, boom, there go the kids.
So I guess that brings us to the fight. The whole big battle where they're charging that Tim had mentioned too. It's the Brazilian trailer dropped also, and apparently that's the one that they didn't have the best editing there, because there's a scene where the lizard looks like he's getting punched in the face by air.
Yep.
It wasn't the American one that we got, because that one seemed like it was pretty clean. So that adds, who is that? Tim is saying Tobey Maguire and Venom could be possibilities, strong ones.
If Andrew Garfield's not in it.
If Andrew Garfield's
I'm still going Garfield.
Okay, so you're still, that's right. You're still both Spider-Mans. I think Venom is in the film, and I agree with you, Jason. I think it's probably going to be more on the face side. We'll use wrestling terms. I mean, we do have, some wrestling guys now. So, I think he's going to go with the face side. We're not going to get the heel Venom villain. For those who don't know.
Thank you for translating.
Yes, I want to make sure we're not losing some people here. But no, I think Venom's in the film, and I think it would be probably more on, the good side there. So he could be one of the three fighting. But if Tobey Maguire's not in it, maybe it's Venom and Doc Ock helping him out. As I know, it would be kind of weird that there are two villains there, but they're fighting against Sandman, Electro, Lizard, and whoever the heck else we're getting at the end of this film. And that scene where Doctor Strange says at the end, they're all coming through. Tim, what do you have in mind? Like, are we talking about like Spider-Ham level Miles Morales? How far are you going with this?
I'm going far. I think I do think
Spider-Ham would be great.
I would be Spider-Punk. Are we getting Spider-Punk? Is that how far we're going?
I think we're getting a lot of crazy stuff. I don't think they're going to come through and hang out.
Okay.
More along the lines of, maybe Doctor Strange like, that's a pig. Look, go back, and they'll send him back and make a quick cameo. That's Spider-Man 99. Yeah, you go back. I don't want nothing to do with you either. Just that kind of thing. I have a lot of outlandish. First of all,
great.
I think not only do I think Tobey Maguire is in it, I think he dies. And I
Really?
think Miles Morales will take over that universe, and that's how we're going to get a Miles Morales movie. Come on.
Tim, I like that.
Come on.
Tim, I'm into that.
I like it.
I think one dies.
Okay.
I absolutely think one dies sacrificing himself for.
It should be Garfield. I vote Garfield.
Yeah, I think we'll pick Garfield, and Jason's going to be back in a second as he's having some technical difficulties. I'm sure he's picking Garfield too.
I blew his computer out with my theory. I blew it out.
It is mind blowing, but I like it though. No, Tim, that's a pretty good one. I like that. Farachi, you got any? Are you on Tim's train here? Where
I cannot think of a better way to go than that now. I can't. I just can't. I can't see it. I can't see anything else than what Tim just presented to me because I love it.
Yeah, because picture him dying, and they're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?"
Right.
Well, we have someone else who can take over the mantle, and there's young Miles Morales taking over in the cool black costume. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Jason loved it too. I saw his reaction.
And that leads to a Miles Morales. And then Sony can say, "All right, we're going to do a Miles Morales universe now," which is going to be the original, Spider-Man universe. But make it their own. Make it their own. That's just my theory. Maybe it's my wish.
That.
I love that idea. I love that idea. I actually would be surprised if we don't get at least some teaser of Miles Morales, because this is the Spider-Verse. This is his home turf.
So the only reason I don't mean to do it. I like your idea though, Tim. The only reason I'm gonna throw a little cold water on a Miles Morales stuff, at least at this point, is because I kind of think of a feeling Sony wants him to be the head and the face of the animated Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Like, we know we're getting a sequel, and I'm sure they're planning on a bunch more. And we know he's front and center of that one. Like, him and Gwen are supposed to be the faces of that, and Peter's taking a step back in that one. That's why I kind of think that they might do that. But, I mean, as we're seeing now, you can have multiple Spider-Man, multiple Batman, multiple anything, and it's not going to matter. What I would like to see still is, if you're going to use anything from the Amazing Spider-Man universe, I would rather see Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen pop up, and you can get her, because I think she would crush it.
Yep, I'd be on board for that.
Emma Stone can do no wrong.
Well, okay, all right.
Listen. Emma. A quick story. When Emma Stone was up and coming, 2010-ish, around there, she got on Facebook. Me and a former partner of mine. We're chatting, and then all of a sudden, she got a movie in there, and then that was it.
Wow.
She went from like her fan page went from like a couple thousand to right into the millions, and then that was it.
Wow.
Never heard
this
from
was
her
around
again. But I did
time, right?
Right. But it was right before she took off.
Okay, interesting. Oh,
should have held on.
Give me those coattails.
As long as you don't see Kirsten Dunst again, I'm fine.
Yeah, if Toby's in it, I wouldn't be shocked if she had like one scene and that's it. Like,
no.
I think they would.
I don't want it.
They would. I'm telling you right now, I think they would, just so you know, they kind of like, what happened with them moving forward or whatever.
What is she going to look into the camera? Peter, you don't love me anymore.
Something like that. I don't know. I mean, listen, she might be pregnant. She could be like,
maybe she's going to fall for Garfield.
Actually.
She falls for everybody else.
Listen, she is the Adrian of the Spider-Man world. You can't win. You can't do it. You're going to lose. He'll kill you. That's her.
Oh, she could be pregnant, but maybe she's a mother and has Mayday Parker already. Oh, I don't know. I mean, we do know that that's actually a thing there, so I wouldn't be shocked if you're going to make Toby that Spider-Man.
Toby's dying.
Toby, you think so? I mean, he would be the hero or the heroic one to do that. I kind of feel like Garfield would be Spider Dick again. And say, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Garfield was go. I could save the town, or I could get the hell out of here. Later, bitches.
I'm out.
Watch me skateboard down this building.
But there's also another scene in the trailer, though, which is could be a huge misdirect, is when MJ is falling, and it looks like Ned was holding on to him, because I think he's the one with that jacket that's on and kind of falling, reminiscent of the death of Gwen Stacy again. And that's when some people are speculating that Andrew Garfield is the one who saves her to kind of like give his Spider-Man to reconcile and have his happy ending. Are we where are we with that? I guess it depends on your Garfield belief or not, or do we think that's totally misdirected? Tim, you're on.
I believe that 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm into that too.
I think. Garfield,
I guess the two of us who believe Garfield are in.
Yeah, I guess that's where
we're in for it. Yeah, because that's the reason, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I can see
but
that.
by the way, I'm not trying to throw out the spoilers out there. I know that and everything, but there was a picture, one of the pictures that was released where everyone denied it was fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake.
Yeah.
But they were surrounded by scaffolding in that picture. And now the trailer just came out yesterday where all that fighting was taking place. Where? Scaffolding.
Good point.
And you can tell it's Garfield, and you can tell it's Tobey Maguire balding. It's the two of them together, surrounded by a green screen with scaffolding.
their problem with that?
Yeah, really.
That is why. Oh, did I say something wrong? Okay, never mind.
No.
No, you guys are bald. He's bald.
All right,
Okay.
But yeah, so I think that picture pretty much was like, okay, he's going to be in it. MJ falling the same way Gwen did. That's all. I think he's 100% in it. I won't change my mind until I actually see the movie. And if he's not, no skin off my ass because he was terrible anyway. So, but I do believe he's in it.
He's the guy. I mean, I could obviously give or take whether he's there or not.
Yeah,
maybe that's why my belief is what it is.
It's a can't lose situation.
Yeah.
If he is, cool. I was right. If he's not, oh well, good because he sucked anyway. So let's move on.
So where are we at if neither one of them show up there?
And that's a clusterfuck right there.
Then who are they going to fight?
Is it though? I'm just saying, like, if Toby and Andrew aren't there, they don't show up. The villains are there, and let's just say Venom is the one who helps Tom Holland out or whatever, and that's it. They're not. They never said that they're going to be in this film. Just like we were never told Mephisto was in WandaVision. Like that's just or Reed Richards or Doctor Doom or anyone else.
And Benedict Cumberbatch wasn't Khan. I'm not Khan. I'm not playing Khan.
Yeah.
I'm not playing Khan.
I understand.
Fucking Khan. Shut up.
The whole thing was a con.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Well done, Frost. Yeah, I like that.
A little punny tonight, you know.
I'll be honest, Ed. If they don't show up, I don't care. I'm still going to enjoy the movie.
Fine too.
It's still going to be good. Like I want to see Tobey Maguire. I'm okay with seeing Andrew Garfield, but if I don't see them, look, this is an MCU movie. I haven't been this excited for a movie since Infinity War, and I think I've made my Infinity Gauntlet love like well known on this show.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't. We can speculate. I don't care what is there. I'm going to like it, and if I don't, then then that's an issue. But I would be surprised if I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key here is just to set expectations. And then if they don't meet your exact expectations, then you can't be pissed at them. They never told you that this was Kevin Feige's been out there trying to like tell people that like enjoy the film. No one's told you. They won't say the words. But there's been a lot of rumors out there. Just make sure you enjoy it.
I don't know how many times to tell you this. I'm not in your bloody Spider-Man movie. Just leave me alone. I'm trying to have a real career here.
And then he does show up. Fuck you.
I was in it though.
Gotcha.
Well, Alex, of course. If King Toby is in this film, I will slam the entire movie. Alex,
Tobey Maguire being in this film is the whole reason Alex is excited about this movie. I know because I have watched Spider-Man 3 with him on more than one occasion.
That is a problem in its own.
What does he feel about Spider? What does he think about Spider-Man 3?
He loves Spider-Man 3. He loves all the Tobey Maguire ones. And actually, when we covered Spider-Man 3, I had him text me his defenses of the movie, and I presented them here. So we had sort of his voice here because
that was Alex.
Look, it's not the worst of movies. We'll talk about the worst of movies at some point. But that is the reason he's into these movies. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I will tell you that Spider-Man 3 has high level sentimental value for me because if I still had the DVD, I might still have the Blu-ray, but I'll show it to you. The scratches on this thing, my son obsessed with it. So it was more sentimental value, and it gets to the point you watch something over and over and over again, and this is fine. This is fine.
Bert said, I hope they bring back the Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer themes for that big eventual moment.
Oh my god!
If it happens, yes. And Bert, to tell you the truth, the Hans Zimmer, exactly. The Hans Zimmer theme was one of our choices to open the show tonight, and we opted for the X-Men because we're going to try to minimize as much of certain films that we talk about on here to just that when they have to be discussed.
But see, one other reason I firmly believe that they're in this movie is to kind of put the exclamation point on it, because again, the Tobey Maguire didn't end well with 3. The Garfield series just sucked, period. I think this is a way of saying, listen, we're going to put a stamp on it. We're going to let them go out in style, let them go out on a good note, bring them into this movie, and then that's going to be the end of it. That's why I also think they're going to be in it. It's kind of like Sony saying, please, Mr. Feige, please make our Spider-Man go out, in a real nice way.
Please, Mr. Feige, I've got this garbage. Can you make it gold for us?
So I think that's another reason I think they're definitely going to be in it. You let Toby go out the way he should have went out, and then you let Garfield at least have one kind of shining goddamn moment in one of these movies. So that's all I have to say about that, Forrest Gump style.
Rachi, any closing remarks on the trailer before we go to Disney Plus Day?
No, I'm just super excited about it, and I already said it on the NFL show because just in case anybody was watching, Bert, I got this one. So for any the pre-screen, I got this, Bert.
Nice. All I'm gonna say is for the 3 of us, if New York passes ever start coming through,
they are such a pain.
No, I know they are.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one personally in years.
Kyle,
they said they're doing it completely different now.
No, but Kyle might be the writer. But guess what, Kyle? You're new to New York. You're at the back of the line.
Oh, he said
now,
you're a
Kyle.
Rookie now, baby.
You're at the back of the line now, Kyle.
and Jason and I are up to episode 40 already. So
yeah, that's true.
Yep. Actually, if you want to be technical, I think the last episode of the Jader and Kyle show, which is on hiatus, is at episode 50. So you're close. You're close to catching them.
We are the Gil. Michael Myers to their Gil Curtis.
Look, Gil's very smart. Gil's very, very smart.
Tim gets first.
Yes. Oh, yes. Of course. All right, cool. So then I guess we're gonna.
I do have some closing thoughts on it.
No, good.
Because I swear to you, a student told me this. I was covering a class today, and there was a whole bunch of students talking about it. They were seniors, and I had a couple of them. So of course, I start talking with them, and one of them says, "You know what I think, Mister? I think Doctor Strange is actually Mephisto in this movie."
Oh, here we go.
I kid you not. And I was like, I have to bring that here because if there is one place to bring a ridiculous Mephisto theory, it's here. And now it's out there. And you know what? I couldn't say that I'm 100% against that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's out there now.
How old is he? How old is this kid?
Like 18. They're like 17, 18. They're seniors in high school.
That'd be funny if he was a little kid, It'd be funny that way. Like even you, little kid, know about Mephisto.
Everyone.
Be more funny if it comes true and we're laughing about it here. We'll clip this. It's gonna go viral. This show making fun of this kid. How ridiculous! Holy shit! It happened.
Bert, that is the case though. I did mention that in the last trailer. We did say that was a possibility because of Spider-Man One More Day. As much as it's infamous amongst comic readers, Mephisto did have something pretty big to do with Peter Parker and erasing people's memories. So
absolutely, and that was the kid's point. He actually pointed to that run, saying in the comic it's Mephisto. So
it's not that far fetched, but don't think so.
Well, I think we've learned our lesson.
It's not far fetched, but on the flip side, you can say it is far. It's not like
They got a lot of other stuff to source material to pull from to not go down that route.
Yeah, for sure. I would hope so.
I would say so, especially if it's a storyline that a lot of people hated. as well. So maybe
Right.
you want to like push that to the side. So
Yeah, get the hell out of this movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
just no. All right, guys. Farachi, thanks for jumping on with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. My apologies for making this my first time. I can't believe it. But happy 40th.
Thank you.
That's
you.
one. And on my way out, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make sure to not do something. Who did that to us, Tim? We were doing an NFL show or something. Dave. Of course, Dave. AM PM. So so he was so used to doing the producing for the A to Z program that we were mid-show and he hit end broadcast instead of exiting.
Whoops.
So we got completely. We had to start a whole new show. I don't remember what show it was. Something with football. Was it the draft?
This is the draft.
It was the draft night thing that we
The
did.
draft.
Completely kicked us out. I was like, he knocked. The last thing you saw on Dave's face was,
Yeah.
and then everybody
And
was
it
gone.
froze. It was great. It was actually pretty funny.
It said broadcast ended, and I was like, my god.
Do you want me to remove? Is that what I'm gonna do?
No, I'm hitting X up at the top. But I appreciate you having me on for this.
Farachi,
No, I
before you
appreciate you
go,
coming on.
Yeah.
Before you go, I want to extend an official invitation to come and review Far FromOme when it comes. You should come on that show, and we should talk about that movie.
No Way Home.
No Way- yeah, No Way
But
Home. You
far
know,
from
both
home, we
of
can
them.
talk about it. But yeah,
Why not?
you guys know what I meant.
I will be there. Done.
Nice, my man.
All right, guys. Have a great night, guys.
Later, you
All right,
too.
take it easy, Farachi.
Bye, Tappy.
Tim, you wanna talk about Disney Plus Day?
What
Or
are
are
you
you
talking
skipping
about first?
We're gonna just put up this damn graphic that we got here, and why not? Why waste some time and discuss this thing here?
I mean, if you're gonna talk a certain
Oh, look at that! Our names are appearing on the screen for the first time.
Hey.
Boom! All right, so the opening of the show, we opened up with the 90s X-Men theme, if you weren't familiar with that. And there was a reason why, because on Disney Plus Day last Friday, they had a bunch of announcements, and leading off with, they're going to be resuming the X-Men, the 90s X-Men cartoon on Disney Plus in 2023. It's tentatively titled X-Men 97, from where the show left off. So we got some, which is kind of weird. I'm curious to see if that title is going to stick or not, or if they're just going to call it X-Men and just.
Well, actually, you know what? I am going to duck out.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I had to come on for the reaction trailer. That was definitely a must. I couldn't wait for that.
Sure.
Yeah, you guys show them your stuff. Do what you got to do, and I've already started promoting our Star Wars holiday special funness.
Yes.
I saw it, and I'm there. And look, we should watch that one live, right? That's what we're planning.
The cookies were delivered today.
Nice.
So we are ready to go. All we got to do is figure out a date. Whatever's good for you. I am open for whenever, so you guys figure that out, and I'm there.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that offline then. I guess.
And I'm gonna watch that episode of Baywatch, Jason, too.
Yes. Because I didn't talk about it today, but if by the end of that episode you're at least not, what? Okay, all right, I kind of get where this is coming from, like in the sense that it's so crazy. If you don't have that reaction, never watch it again.
All right, we'll do.
All right.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
Easy. All right, so all right, Jason. So out of the shows that were announced here, so we got some animated stuff. We got X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
I Am Groot is also an animated series that's coming into Disney Plus as well.
Marvel Zombies, that's animated, right?
Marvel Zombies is animated.
Yeah.
That's the other one there. Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is supposed to cover the part of MCU Spider-Man that we did not see.
Which I think, cool idea, super cool idea.
No, I like the idea that I'm hoping they get Tom Holland to come back and to do the voice. It's not a make or break thing. You could always get the guy who subbed for him on What If, and I'm
he
just fine with
great.
that too. And then we have What If Season 2, which we knew was happening already, but like they officially announced that as well. So that's the animated stuff. The live action stuff we mostly knew about those. Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, which we got some She-Hulk footage.
We did.
We got Echo, which is a spin-off of Hawkeye, so they must be feeling pretty damn good about Hawkeye to already give one of the characters that's going to make their MCU debut in it their own series. Moon Knight, which we also got some pretty cool footage of that was in their presentation. Ironheart, which that was already confirmed as well. I'm very curious to see how they're going to connect the MCU Riri Williams to Tony Stark. And this goes in the comics, the connection's a little bit easier. Miss Marvel, which we also got some footage from as well. Agatha, House of Darkness, spinning off of WandaVision. So I'm curious to see where I didn't see a description of where that's going to go. If they're going to pick up her story from WandaVision, or they're going to get maybe her origin, like stuff we only got teased of,
like the lead up to WandaVision, what she was doing beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also a possibility. But super excited to see that as well. But I guess let's first jump into the ones that we got footage of.
All right.
So She-Hulk. I mean, we got to see Mark Ruffalo. We got to see Professor Hulk in that footage there, which maybe we're going to see why he's not Professor Hulk anymore. Because if you remember in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in the mid-credit scene, he's Bruce Banner again.
Yeah.
So, but in this, he's Bruce Banner at one point, but then he's also Professor Hulk at the beginning at another point. So I'm assuming that we're going to get the answer to exactly how he goes from Professor Hulk. Maybe it's because in the comics, it's a blood transfusion that he ends up giving his cousin who's a lawyer who gets into, I believe it's a car accident or something like that. And that's how it happens. Perhaps that's how he ends up having to not be Professor Hulk anymore.
Oh yeah, maybe the fact that he has to they can't give a blood transfusion if he's Professor Hulk. He can't get to his blood. So yeah, maybe that's it. Or maybe what they're setting up is he, can control the transformation.
Yeah, then maybe he gets more because the Hulk story will evolve and he's at different levels of control or not control the Hulk. And
I think the MCU has done a really good job of portraying the different stages of the Hulk. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a gray Hulk. They've been so in depth about it. Because Mr. Fix-It, exactly. Because they really have been they've given us, childlike Hulk, and then they've given us sort of more mature Hulk, and now it's smart Hulk, Professor Hulk. So yeah, I completely think I wouldn't be surprised if we find out he has the ability to change at whim, and that's why he does it, and that's why we see him as Bruce Banner in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I can see that, and I guess that's where we'll line up in the timeline of exactly how that happened. Alex is commenting too. We better get Agatha all along with the show's main score. Maybe I'm for it. I don't think so. If I had to put money on it,
but I'm not. But look, I'm not against it.
I'm not mad at it either. It's super catchy. So, So She-Hulk looked pretty cool. And we got to see actual brief She-Hulk actually in comics accurate attire. So that was super cool. And it looks like they were cutting kind of because she's a lawyer.
Yes,
Walters is a lawyer, and it looks like they were cutting some sort of local commercial, law commercial with Mark Ruffalo's there in this weird pose, it looks like they're on a roof of some sort. Yeah. And it's just she quotes the famous line of don't make you're not gonna like me when I'm angry,
right? And she's wearing a 70s plaid jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited. I think She-Hulk is the one I'm most excited about on this list, to be honest with you, because She-Hulk is one of those characters that I don't really know much about. I always thought it was stupid that the Hulk gave her a blood transfusion, but how else are you going to make another Hulk? Whatever. It's a comic book hand wave. But I think it's a character that they could really explore, and I really do think this is the opportunity if they're going to bring Matt Murdock into the MCU. I think this is where it's going to happen. I'm not saying it is, but if it's going to happen, I think we might see him. Well, he is, right. He's confirmed. The actor is confirmed in Spider-Man.
Charlie Cox is supposedly confirmed to be in No Way Home, even though we don't see him. My guess is that would probably be his introduction briefly.
Right. And so my thought is if, and this is an if, because I don't know what they're doing, but if they're going to bring Charlie Cox in as Daredevil, we see him, he gets introduced as Matt Murdock in Far From Home, or in No Way Home. I keep doing that. And then he has a more prominent role in She-Hulk, because it only makes sense. They're both lawyers. I mean, and then once you establish him there, you can do whatever you want with him.
There's also been a lot of people floating stuff around that Jessica Jones is going to be introduced in She-Hulk. That's been out there. That's how they would get her in.
I would love that.
Shit, you could have both of them in there. I mean,
they're the best things about those the non-MCU Netflix ones, in my opinion. Those are the best two characters.
Yeah, I mean, I also loved Frank Castle, like John Bernthal's Frank Castle.
I did too, and I also loved. I didn't love the show, but I loved the guy who played Luke Cage. So it's I'm not crapping on them, but I just think like if I got to choose, if I could only choose two characters to be pulled, it would be Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I can see that too. So I'm just not 100% sure where Frank Castle would quite fit in with this current MCU group. It would be hard to just fill in because, I mean, it's just straight up. He was really put it this way, he crushed it as the Punisher.
Oh yeah,
fantastic. That's why it's hard for him to fit in with this current MCU because he's just straight up just murdering dudes.
He's the Punisher.
He didn't hold back. But I guess I'm pretty torn with out of the live action shows, which I'm the most excited for because She-Hulk looks pretty cool. I'm curious to see how that goes. But we got a comment here from Bert. I'm so pumped for Moon Knight. He's such a complex character. And Bert, I totally agree with you. And we kind of got a very small snippet of that in the Moon Knight footage that we did get because you kind of see, like, Spectre's there and he's like, no, I don't know what's going on. And he can't tell reality from, like, what's not reality and stuff like that. I mean, it's a very small snippet there. But they also show, like, briefly Moon Knight, like, jumping over, a roof from rooftops here. That looks cool. And I think it's another thing that's really interesting because Moon Knight's a character that is super complex and that we haven't seen anything like that in the MCU. And he is a darker hero. He's more in line with Netflix. Like, I would have seen him with the Netflix crew.
Right.
More than even the current MCU characters as well.
So it's going to be really interesting how they're going to manage that tone while keeping it consistent with the tones of the other MCU properties.
Yeah, exactly. And that's cool, though. But I think that's a cool challenge to balance the different tones of there.
And that's the thing is, I think it's a challenge that they've proven they're up for. I mean, I was talking with my students today, right? And I said, if you told people that before Spider-Man No Way Home was going to drop, right? That we're going to have a Spider-Man movie, and you know what? All the villains from different incarnations of Spider-Man's going to be there. We'd be like, yeah, right, sure, crazy, yeah, that's going to happen. But the MCU's making it happen. So, like, if anyone can pull it off, it's them.
No, absolutely. I mean, we know the DCU was going there too, and I think we're both in agreement that we'll wait and see how they pull off the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's because it seems like Marvel's definitely beating them to the punch right now to see who handles this better. Hopefully, I mean, we both hope they both handle it great.
Of course.
And we get great movies all the time. But, Matt, we're also excited.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac is a great actor. So
he is.
Him portraying this is a perfect choice.
And I'm glad that he's going to be, because he was Apocalypse, right?
Yes, unfortunately, he was Apocalypse.
So I'm really glad that he's actually being brought into a good comic book movie because he's a good actor who was absolutely wasted in that Apocalypse movie, which, look, I kind of did like that movie, aspects of it, so I'm not crapping on it, but that was not Apocalypse, and that was not a good Oscar Isaac performance, and I think this is meaty enough for him to really, like, show his talent.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. That's definitely... this is a role that's really something that's tailor-made for him, someone with the talent level that he has. That you can really dive into this, and like you said, a lot of meat on the bone there to go with. So I think that's an excellent choice. I can't wait to see more of that as well. And then we also got footage from Miss Marvel, who, I loved what we saw from her. I mean, she's another character, who's extremely different from what we've gotten. I mean, the only one you can compare currently in the MCU, since she's young enough, would be Peter Parker. Because the Peter Parker we got is also, a teenager in high school and stuff. And that's where where Miss Marvel comes into play. And she's, like, in Jersey. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm assuming she's going to be that case in the comics that she is, but in the MCU she would remain the same. And she looks up to Captain Marvel, and she's also going to be in the Marvels, like the Captain Marvel sequel that we know we're getting as well.
That's right.
So, yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. And I think they said this was going to be August or September of 2022. So,
okay,
we got that might. I mean, so technically, She-Hulk might be the next MCU. I mean, Disney Plus show that we get after Hawkeye. I mean, it looks like that's how it's lining up to be.
That is how it's looking. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Echo, obviously, there's no footage from that, but that is a Hawkeye spinoff, which Bert is dropping there too. The Hawkeye preview was amazing. I can't wait to see that next week. Yeah, we're going to be definitely talking about that on our episode next week.
For sure.
When we talk about they dropped the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. So we're super pumped for that. The footage that they showed in here and the clip that they dropped online, it looks great. It looks really good. And
it does.
Jason, I don't know if you caught this though, but the big thing earlier today was Vincent D'Onofrio retweeted some stuff from Hawkeye.
No,
talking about how excited. Oh, and wow, Bert is like reading out of like he's me and him are on the same. Literally, Bert, I'm saying it. And yes, we actually did. And Jason, Bert and I will let you know about it. There was a tweet. He liked it, talked about how excited he is for it, and there are a lot of rumors that that's how he's being brought into the MCU that he's going to appear in this Hawkeye series.
I would love that because I think, like, to be honest, Vincent D'Onofrio is pitch perfect as the Kingpin in the, like that first season. I mean, in all the seasons, but that first season, man. And I actually I taught a drama class up until this year, right? And I actually taught his monologue that he gives at the end of that last episode of Daredevil in season 1 about the Good Samaritan, right? Like, that is how much I love that character, that I teach the monologue he gives. So if he shows up in this, I may, if he is, especially if he's like a big part of this might be my favorite of the MCU live action like shows that we've gotten. And that's saying a lot because I loved all of them. But if D'Onofrio is coming as the Kingpin to the MCU, that has such wide-reaching implications for the movies, and I'm just so excited for that.
I mean, and Echo, like Bruce mentioned here, Echo in the comics is adopted daughter of the Kingpin.
Did not know that.
So could be where everything's tying in, and everything seems to be pointing to it. Again, if they stay comics accurate to it, which they don't have to always do that, but I mean, it's there. It's definitely there for it. Yeah, and it would really it would pretty much make the Netflix shows canon instantly, finally. And then, we can see what happens there. And then, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, dude, we can get MCU Spider-Man versus Kingpin.
Right.
At some point.
Right, exactly. And I think, you know what? Before No Way Home, I got the name right this time. Before No Way Home, we were said, before we knew that was happening, I think a lot of us said, no, there's no way Feige's ever going to bring any of the Netflix people in to the MCU. But what he's showing us is, no, they're kind of experimenting with that. And I think it's on the table. I think it's on the table to get the best of the MCU stuff from the Netflix, which that's Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Kingpin, Luke Cage as a character. Because again, that first season was great up to a point, and then it fell off. And who else? And I think I'm blanking on the other person.
But hold on, if you're making Daredevil and Kingpin canon,
and then Punisher,
Frank Castle's canon, then
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it's not going to happen all at once, but I do think that is their plan. Their plan is to get the stuff that worked folded into the MCU, because they've proven that they're not going to reinvent the wheel, right? That is what Homecoming taught us. Homecoming didn't kill Uncle Ben for us for the 800th time because it didn't need to and it knew it. It wasn't going to reinvent the wheel. So people want Daredevil, right? People want the Punisher. People want Kingpin. Why reinvent the wheel if people already like something that exists and it was only made not too long ago? So I think made perfectly in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I think that that's completely on the table. I think it's going to happen over years. It's not going to happen all at once. We'll maybe get one here, like maybe we'll get Kingpin and Echo or Hawkeye. Maybe we'll get Matt Murdock and She-Hulk. It'll happen slowly, but I think it's happening.
Okay. Yeah, and like we said earlier when we were talking about the No Way Home trailer, all bets are off now.
Yeah.
All bets are off. And this is the easiest transition because the Netflix shows acknowledged the events of the MCU up until the snap. And all you got to do in passing is you can just say whatever. They got snapped or didn't get snapped or whatever. You don't really need to get into that. But if you want to in a passing line, sure, knock yourself out.
Why not? And again, if you want to justify, well, why wasn't Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage there when blah, blah, blah happened? Because they were snapped. Done. That's why.
Yeah, that's it. Or, Doctor Strange and Wong didn't know to get them because they don't know who the hell they are.
Right.
They didn't grab every single able-bodied person to come fight the war against Thanos.
Right, exactly.
They got the people they knew. One more thing before we talk about the animated stuff, which I'm pretty sure I know the answer to, but I think if the rumors are true, they're planning another Spider-Man trilogy, which that's I've heard too as well. Bert. I can see Kingpin being the Spider-Man a future foe as he gets older.
Absolutely.
That would be great. I mean, they have had some serious battles over the years. You can more street level, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man house, since he started off with such majestic stories in this version, in the MCU so far. You can kind of ground him a little bit more, which he referenced at the end of Homecoming, but got thrown right into Mysterio and everything else. So we could actually get that and see it on screen. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
Listen, all right. So out of the animated shows, and I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm the most excited for. Okay. I mean, X-Men is clearly, and I don't know if X-Men is it, even more than Spider-Man freshman year.
I'm going to respond one way for that, Ed.
I mean, Jason, there's no way we can't choose X-Men 97 as obviously it. It looks like they got a lot of the original voice cast coming back, and the writers are coming back, so it's going to be pretty cool.
And well, that's the thing is, and this is my X-Men. I read X-Men comics when I was younger. I love X-Men. X-Men, if you ask me, my favorite individual superhero in the Marvel universe is Spidey, but my favorite group is the X-Men. And the X-Men was my original favorite, in the Marvel canon. So when that cartoon came on, that is my X-Men. I love Jubilee because she is front and center in that cartoon.
Yeah, no, she really is. She gets a lot of screen time in that.
She does way more screen time than she ever gets on the page. And that's why when I'm guys, I love Jubilee. People that never watch the show are like, are you insane? She does lights. It's but you've never seen X-Men, her and Logan, and they kick ass together.
Oh, man, yeah. I am pretty amped up for that. And what's this? Oh, yeah. Pretty much. Jonathan stoked for X-Men. X-Men was the 90s. Yeah, you're right. In the 90s, the X-Men were front and center of the whole of Marvel everything at that point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm going to use this as an excuse to go back and watch the series from the 90s, from start to finish.
Jason, I can tell you right now, we will be covering the X-Men 90s series on the show eventually.
Awesome.
Once it gets closer to the release of X-Men 97, because we have a whiles to go though before
we got a while.
That show comes out. All right, but I think outside of those, Spider-Man freshman year, we talked about that. That looks pretty cool. I mean, it's Spider-Man. Obviously, you got me in. I'm here.
Yep.
Let's do that. I'm curious to see what they can do with that. Marvel Zombies. I mean, if they go with adapting the actual comic stories of Marvel Zombies, which I would really love to see them do, that would be crazy.
Hashtag bring me Ash. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you can really get crazy with that.
Hashtag hail to the king, baby. I want the Necromonicon. I want the Hulk using the Necromonicon to wipe his ass, which, by the way, is how one of those Marvel Zombies comics ends.
Oh, it sure does. I mean, shit, that means we would also get... Oh, Farachi's joining in, too. Yes, zombies. Always zombies. Well, that's how we would also get, because in the first Marvel Zombie series, Peter ends up like being really distraught because we know that the Marvel zombies kind of keep part of their memory and can talk and things like that. We find out that once he became a zombie, he ate MJ and Aunt May. And he's really distraught about that, which I thought was really fucked up.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's really, really wild, man. Really wild. So I hope they go all in with that. And What If? I mean, we enjoyed the first season.
What If is going to be good.
Yeah, of course. I Am Groot. I'm not sure what to be expecting. I think James Gunn is involved.
He's an executive producer. I saw him because I follow him on Twitter, and someone asked him, "Hey, are you involved in this?" He was like, "Executive producing." So that's his role. So I don't know what an executive producer does, but his name's attached to it.
That's fine by me. He's doing a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which I think drops next year. Yes. So yeah, well, we're gonna get some pretty cool stuff from that. But yeah, overall, I think the Disney Plus experience, the Disney Plus Day experience, it was kind of a little weird to follow the way that they did it. Like, it was like, hey, we're just going to drop shit on social media and announcements. And then I didn't know where to follow it. I was like, do you go to Disney Plus and just watch the presentation all like on the main screen? But you had to kind of like jump around to follow the different stuff. But Marvel had the most news to drop. I mean, Star Wars, leave that to Tim, as I know they talked about it last night.
They did. Did you know that I guessed it?
Yes, I did. I know. I saw you. You jumped on there.
Gave a little Akbar fact bar.
I like that. Yeah. So no, that was pretty cool. But no, I think Marvel's presentation was pretty solid, and we got some footage. Didn't get full trailers yet, but I mean that's all good. But I'm excited for the properties that we got coming down the pipeline.
Same here.
And we'll see how that goes. And not featured here is Loki season 2. Which we're getting as well. Yeah. And they confirmed at the end of season 1. So.
And I'm excited for that because I love that Loki show. Really excited to see where. And I think that's going to be like the key thing, like going into this new phase, like Quantumania. We know as Kang, we're doing multiverse stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be when they drop Loki 2, it's going to be important to the whole sort of tapestry of this phase of the MCU.
Yeah, and it's very different than what we got before. We're like leading up to Endgame, this whole Phase 4 has been completely different.
Yeah, so we were talking when we saw the Eternals, right? It's like we don't know where the Endgame is, pun intended, but
yes,
it's interesting. The ride is interesting.
No, it is. It's pretty cool, and I love the fact that the shows are intertwining and stuff like that. And we'll see. It looks like the animated stuff is linked in with the MCU. It's technically canon, which I wonder where that puts X-Men 97 then.
I don't know.
Because we don't have a live-action X-Men, so...
Multiverse.
You can just chalk it up to that and keep it moving. Before we move on, Jonathan Hamilton, I wondered if zombies would be a continuation of the What If story or follow the comics. Dude, your guess is as good as mine. I personally would like to see them follow the comics on this. Based on the logo that they have there, and this is all I'm going off of, that's very much the Marvel Zombies logo from the comics. So I'm hoping hopefully that's an indication, fingers crossed, but that's the way they go with it, because that would be pretty awesome. And I want to see them go even more screwed up than the What If episode we got was pretty messed up too.
Yes,
it was. This would take it further. This would be like next level. So, all right, cool. And I guess we got our news out of the way there.
All right.
We haven't. Now we can go back to our regular.
We spent an hour on a trailer and a 15-minute preview that had 8 minutes of stuff we had already seen.
We love it. I guess we love it that much then.
We do.
All right, but let's jump into our regularly scheduled programming then.
All right.
And get into this. We got CW Verse. We got DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 7, Episode 5. Jason, what's up? Tell us about Legends.
And this is a great episode. I really enjoyed this. It's a mad scientist, which is a reference to one of my favorite ridiculous slapstick comedies from the 60s. It's a mad world. Mm-hmm. Which of course, as we called, the guy who plays Constantine is the scientist who invents time travel.
Matt Ryan.
He works for Thomas Edison, who we get to see Thomas Edison, and we get to see Thomas Edison die of a heart attack and be replaced by by a robot.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's Legends. Why not?
Why not? So funniest part about this is they keep muting the Hoover bot, right?
Yes, I thought that was
and not Astra. What's Zari has a thing where she goes, "Why do I keep unmuting you?" Which is a great line because I thought the same thing every time he talked and said something.
Yeah, shut this dude up.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna go through this real quick because we got a lot still to cover. But the important parts here is the A gang, which is the gang who is in New York trying to get Matt Ryan to let them use the time machine or try to steal the time machine from Matt Ryan. They don't know that the time machine is going to explode and kill them all when they try to use it. Gary gets Matt Ryan fired from Thomas Edison's laboratory because he outs him as doing the time travel thing. Classic Gary.
Gary.
So then the whole thing is like he gets thrown into Bedlam or an insane asylum. Captain Lance gets him out, convinces him to help him. He's lost someone. That's why he's invented time travel. So they go back to his apartment. They're about to use the time machine. And before I get into that, they screwed up the timeline so badly that Behrad actually does create something that will allow them to use the time machine, except because they do it first and Matt Ryan's character does not, or as I like to call him, Notstantine, because he's not Constantine.
Definitely not.
It messes up the timeline, so the Time Bureau never exists. So Sharp and Gary disappear. And so the whole thing is we got to get Davies or Notstantine to fulfill his destiny by starting up the time machine first to bring them back. And they do, and then they all get in, and they're about to go, and there's electricity, and they're all going to die. And then we go to the B team, which is Gideon, Astra, and Spooner, who are having terrible luck. So Astra gets a luck rock. She puts a luck spell on a rock, which is a fake. It's just to fake them out. But it does.
Did you think it was real at any point?
No, not at all.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Because so
yeah, but that's fine. I didn't care.
No.
But they're racing to get to the Legends before they die, and then we get a Cannonball Run reference. We get which for those of you who are not in your 40s or above, Cannonball Run is like an insane comedy with Burt Reynolds in the 80s, where like all of these ridiculous stars like Roger Moore, Burt Reynolds, Lonnie Anderson, all these 80s people. The Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. are racing across country. So we get a guy named Cannonball running across country to beat his own record, and he picks up the gang and he's taking them. His car gets stolen and he leaves them. And Gideon has my favorite moment in the show where she picks up the luck rock and just brains the thief and throws him out. And so then she's trying to drive to save the Legends, and Astra and Spooner realize that they're not going to make it, so they go to the electricity grid, and they down the electricity grid, and we see the Legends, and oh my God, are they going to die? Are we going to kill the Legends? Of course not. They're all alive. They're all back together, and now synchronicity has happened, and we can go forward with fixing this time machine. So all in all, love this episode, as I love most of these episodes.
No, this is you said before. Dude, this season and is right up your alley.
It really
right
is.
Up your alley.
Like I kind of wish I was writing for this season instead of watching it, because it's like, wait, it's the 1920s and they're just throwing balls to the wall. They don't care, as always. like they destroy the J. Edgar Hoover bot. That's what kills Thomas Edison. They program the J. Edgar Hoover bot, and it makes his head explode in front of Thomas Edison, who has a heart attack. And then the robots of Hoover, new robots of Hoover and Edison come in and get rid of the bodies, because as we know, the Bishop, who we know is the one doing this, is trying to maintain the timeline while trying to kill the Legends.
It's pretty wacky.
It's crazy.
But I love it.
I do too,
so,
and that's what I got, man. So, but I love this episode.
No, yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I think it was a pretty cool episode. Keeping things moving along with the season. Actually, we got a comment here on Legends. It was so funny when Astra and Spooner show up and they're just hanging out with the human Gideon, like nothing is wrong. Yeah, it's all good. I'm a
It
big
was
fan
great.
of Human Gideon. I'm glad she's getting like her FaceTime, on
Me too.
Legends this season. That's pretty cool.
Me too. And yeah, I love that they come in and she's sitting there and like, and so then I hit them with a rock, and that's how I got here. And it's like, you don't need to know that. Now you know how they know what happened. And they do the same thing later with Astra and Spooner. Like, cut to them, and they're just telling the story of how they got there.
So everyone's pretty much caught up then.
Yeah, love it.
So, all right, cool. So let's keep it moving along with CW from last Wednesday. And we got Batwoman, Season 3, Episode 5. So, Jason, I got to ask before we start here. Did you read a lot of Professor Pig Batman comics in your day?
No, and I only know Professor Pig from the video game because he's a side quest in one of the video games.
So
I have never
Z list.
Oh,
Batman villain, let's go lower.
Negative A? Like, can we get negative letters? Like, yeah, not a high villain, not a very, very well known villain.
But I want to say though, I am glad we got him though, and not the 2.0 version, because why not give the negative A list Batman villain time to shine and give him his own episode, and a very creepy episode. At that, I mean, it pretty much focuses around Jada Jet inviting over for dinner. She holds a dinner party, and Professor Pig apparently is the caterer that's supposed to cook them the dinner. All hell ensues then because he pretty much kind of like goes ahead and drugs everyone up, and they're all kind of like at his will. Even though I guess one issue, if I have to nitpick in this episode, is it seems like certain characters have an ability to fight it off more than others.
Yeah.
Some, especially the was it the girlfriend of her brother's girlfriend, Marcus's girlfriend, who kind of
psychologist,
the psychologist who gets like offed immediately.
Yeah.
No, and I know they were joking about it on Twitter, brutally murdered there, reverse typical horror movie style, because the random white chick gets offed first, and I'm like, all right, I like it. Whammy.
I'm in for that.
Yeah, so it pretty much gets taken down with. But in the beginning of the episode, we find out that Catwoman took part of Batman's tech to make an indestructible bullwhip, and that's the Batman trophy of the week. Essentially, that's being thrown out there, and I didn't really love that.
No, I ignored that because I thought this was actually a really great episode. Otherwise,
no, it's a great episode. I'm just if I have to ding it at all, it would be. Just
I agree.
That. Because I also don't love this indestructible batsuit shit either. Like, I just think that was a stupid thing, and I'm glad they stopped talking about it. As time has gone on and when the show's gotten better. One thing I wanted to comment on though is, so I don't know if you're familiar with Boomerang, the movie with Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it since I'm a kid. I don't remember anything about it, but I know about it. Eartha Kitt's in that, right?
Yeah, she's in that. Like a lot of people in it. It's actually a pretty damn funny movie. But Robin Givens was in that movie, and Eddie Murphy's character name is Marcus. And every time I hear her say Marcus, I think of Boomerang every single time.
I
wonder
if that was
laugh.
I wonder if that was purposeful. If the writers did that because they were Boomerang fans.
Listen, the CW verse, they're all about those little nods, so I would not be shocked at all. But it just makes me kind of like grin every time she says his name.
That's funny
because that's her son's name on the show. So we also find out that Renee Montoya had a relationship with Poison Ivy,
which
odd. We gotta get her origin story.
Odd, but I'm okay with it.
No, I'm okay with it. I just thought it was kind of random.
Yeah, very random.
That to play. So pretty much when the dinner happens, there's a takedown of Professor Pig because he's chasing them around the house essentially, and they're in a panic room for most of the episode and trying to get out. And Professor Pig is doing this like creepy thing where he's staring at the camera and running away. He's wearing a pig mask and a butcher knife.
Oh God, so creepy!
It was pretty creepy, and it was shot well for that. But Marcus goes ahead and stabs the shit out of Professor Pig when they finally
murders him.
Brutally murders him. Almost like Professor Pig took out the psychiatrist that was there. And then things get really weird with Marcus. And I'm kind of want to know where you're at with this, though, Jason, is we find out that he had an encounter with the Joker as a child, right? And he murdered his own father. So obviously, my whole Bruce Wayne theory goes out the window that he's the father. So we can put that to rest. But for the better, I like to be wrong sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the ideas are not the best. They're just what you think is going to happen.
I just threw it at the wall, and awesome that the show did not follow that, because that would have kind of pissed me off. Jonathan did not see that coming with the whole encounter with the Joker, and then we find out that apparently Jada Jet has been protecting Ryan from her brother because her brother is crazy.
Yeah.
Because of an encounter with the Joker.
And the encounter, and I actually, so my opinion, I like this. I honestly like this because I like the guy who plays Marcus. I didn't see it coming. And I'm usually like, I'm always looking, because I'm always expecting these shows to give me a twist, so I'm always looking for it. I did not see this coming. And the fact that, like, Robin Givens is now not the villain, more of a protector, and he's obviously a villain. Yeah. And I think their explanation was really good. He had an electric, he stole a bus full of children, which is something I can see the Joker doing.
Of course.
He had his electric buzzer, and for his own amusement, pressed it against a random kid's head, and it happened to be Marcus, and it messed up his brain in a developmental stage, and it made him a sociopath. It made him a psychopath, which that tracks. If you get brain damage, especially at a young age, if you damage certain parts of the brain, you will become a psychopath or a sociopath, because you lose the ability, like if you lose the emotional part of your brain, then that's it. That's what a sociopath is. You have no emotions. Yeah. So I thought, like, the explanation was cool. I like the twist. And if they're setting us up for Joker 2.0 and it's this guy, and it's because of this moment, it's not like I found the Joker's hand buzzer, so now I'm the Joker. Which, don't get me wrong, I think that was fine with the Mad Hatter, and I think it was fine with the Croc. It's fine with these, like, B, C-list villains.
We're talking about the Joker now, though.
But we're talking about the Joker. I don't want, like, I got the Joker's hand buzzer and I got this, and no. I want a real reason that someone's going to think they're the Joker or model themselves after the Joker, and this is a real reason. Like, this guy stepped on my bus and changed my life and made me this way. And now I am like him, and I kind of see that. So if this is handled well, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and we see the scene at the end of the episode where Marcus has blood on him, and he goes back to his apartment, and he's kind of like putting almost like the Joker smile, on his face. So I was like, oh, wow, I wonder if that's where they go with it, or they just kind of like misdirecting us. Because I don't think we're going to see, like, the Joker on the show.
I think what we're going to get is he's going to start doing Joker-like crimes. And
but
maybe
not go full on.
I don't think he's going to go full makeup, because the Joker's not makeup. The Joker, that's who he is. That's the chemicals, right? I don't think we're going to get full purple suit, but I think this is going to be wild Joker.
Okay.
Even though it's not the Joker. And I think that's smart, because the Joker is one of those characters. You don't want to see a 2.0. You're not going to do him justice. I don't want to see him doing anything but fighting Batman. That's his whole purpose. That's what he does. But this is a Batwoman show, and you want to give us a Batwoman's Joker, so this is the way to do it. I'm fine. It looks good.
Okay. So I guess the other thing that we also get here is Mary find out that she was infected by poison ivy, and she has like a thing where she's scratching and stuff like that, and something she talks about is very much sounds like things Ivy would say. Like she talks to Alice at one point about like kind of like, and even Alice looks at her like, okay, kind of like very much how like the Earth is being ruined by the humans and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. She has this whole little dialogue about it, which I thought was kind of interesting. And she rambles about it, and then I think the question here though is, and I think Jonathan's with us too, anyone think Mary is going to become a villain? Jason, I guess the question for you is the same as, with Marcus. Is, do we think Mary's going to be Poison Ivy 2.0? Because I was also a little fuzzy on the concept. Is Ivy dead or not?
Well, what they say is Batman buried her beneath the city.
At Montoya's request, yeah.
Yeah, at Montoya's request. So I guess here's what I think is happening. I think Ivy is buried, but Ivy's gotten some sort of control on her vines. Ivy took Mary. Ivy put something in Mary. I think Mary might be villainous for a little while. She might take over Poison Ivy. I think Mary is going to be the reason that Poison Ivy Prime comes back. I don't think she's going to be 2.0. I think that would be a bit of a cop-out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But if she's controlled by Ivy, becomes a villain for a little while, and then, of course, is redeemed by the end because she's a main character, that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But is the reason Ivy Prime is released from whatever underground prison she's in, that I think makes the most sense, and I kind of hope that's where this is going.
Yeah, I'm sticking on. I would like to see, as you put it perfectly, Ivy Prime. I want to see actual Poison Ivy in this show and make her the big bad of the season or something like that.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything wrong with giving us actual Batman villains who fought Batman.
Yes.
You just have to be selective, and no one wants to see the Joker Prime fighting Batwoman, right? Or no, I can't speak for everyone. I don't think many fans do, because the Joker and Batman are in an eternal struggle. They are the yin and yang. They're the same coin, different sides, right? But Poison Ivy, yeah, why not? She's a wacky enough villain to fit into this rogues gallery that they're putting in this show.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying the ride, though. I mean, continuing and enjoying Batwoman, and it's something that we didn't know we would ever be saying consistently in the beginning of season 3. But man, we're getting what we want now.
If you told me I was going to describe an episode of Batwoman as excellent, which I described this episode, I have no dings against this episode, but besides the small things that you said that I can just...
there's minor details.
Whatever, minor details, but I think, overall, the writing, the acting, everything is there. I think they really found their footing. If you told me last season I would be saying that, I'd smack you. I'd be like, stop lying. You know?
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm right with you. I'm glad. And I tried to stay as positive as I could about it, even during the rough times, but it's paid off now.
Yeah, we stuck with it, and then now it's getting good.
Before we move on,
exactly.
I'm with you.
Exactly.
There's no Joker without Batman, so yeah, don't do it. Even in Suicide Squad, Batman appeared.
Yes, he had to. Squad. He had to.
So yeah, we don't want to see it otherwise. All right, and I guess that brings us to The Flash. The Flash is back, season 8, episode 1.
Yes,
we are hoping for.
Back again. I'm sorry, Ed.
He's always back. Back with speed, as we could say. So The Flash is back with season 8, episode 1, starting the Armageddon, because they're calling it Flash Armageddon, the 5-part, you want to call it mini-series within the series. And it's they're not calling it a crossover event, because this storyline is not crossing over into, or to our expectations, is not crossing over into the other shows. People are just coming onto The Flash and doing that. And episode 1 delivered on that we got a lot of Ray Palmer.
We did.
In this episode. A lot of the story focuses on Ray. And I liked it. I thought there was a lot of interesting things with Ray Palmer here that they didn't really get to touch on in Legends, all that much, which I think was kind of cool. I think we got back to Ray Palmer being the genius tech instead of kind of like the weird, awkward comedy relief, which I think was cool. And
I think what's cool is we get Ray Palmer, not, I forget what his superhero name is, but
the Atom.
The Atom. We get the Atom a little bit at the end, but we get a lot of Ray Palmer, the character. And I think is a cool choice.
Yeah, and it focuses on it because he literally talks about the growth he's had since leaving the Legends. They checked all the boxes with that. They talked about his growth, his different perspective since being married, and then to Nora Dark. She's not seen in the episode, but I mean that's fine. I mean, he's in Central City for a tech con, the convention that they have, which Chester is kind of like his liaison at one point in the episode, which I think that makes sense. That checks.
Absolutely. And can I say that what I like and appreciate what they're doing with Chester, and I didn't love this episode, but I'm going to point out all the nice things.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that they are making Chester different from Cisco. And
Yes.
a trap that a lot of shows fall in is because Chester is obviously the Cisco replacement, right? He's the tech guy, but a lot of a trap that a lot of shows fall into is, oh, we got to replace this beloved character. Let's just have a clone of them. But Chester's his own thing, like him or not. He's his own thing, his own character, and I really appreciate that the show is doing that.
Yeah, and I think Chester. I liked what they did with him in this episode. But my favorite part of it though was the Ray Palmer stuff. Ray Palmer, they addressed Legends. He said that he has a monthly, drink meeting with I'm sorry, I was about to call him Nick, but that's actually his the actor's name there. Whatever. Commander Steel, that's pretty much the superhero name. But he's never in the same timeline or the same year or anything like that. So it's like that. We kind of missed that a lot, which I thought was cool. He talks about his time with the Legends, but that he's moving on from it. And he said he hasn't put the Atom suit on in a while. But for the big battle at the end of this episode, he's forced into it. But then he starts to gain a perspective on balance, that I can be the Atom and still be Ray Palmer and still find, my footing to balance both, instead of him just being the Atom all the time, which I didn't kind of get that from Legends, that he was the Atom. Actually, I thought the Atom was barely in it, and it was mostly Ray Palmer.
I agree.
But yeah, what Barry's doing, he's pretty much got Flash, saving two trains at the same time full of people and zipping them out. And why can he do that? Because he leveled up. Dude, the leveling up, that term, I feel like it was brought into existence last season by Diggle.
Yes.
Diggle brought it in, and this episode,
100%.
It's about 4 or 5 times that term is mentioned by random people. And I was like, man, this should be a drinking game. I should just texted you and like, Jason, level up drinking game. Let's go.
Level up drinking game. Take a shot every time someone says level up. And then when you pass out, wake up the next morning, continue the show, continue the game.
Yes, I like that. I'm gonna have to say. Hopefully, this is the last episode we get into this, because it was driving me kind of crazy.
It was too much. Everyone leveled up. The villains leveled up. Flash leveled up. Allegra leveled up, as you said. Everyone leveled up. I leveled up watching the show, apparently.
I feel like the show leveled up, because this is probably the best episode they've had in a long time.
Long time.
At
least a season and a half.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, so Captain Kramer disbands the Meta Task Force because she is dealing with the fact that she's a Meta herself now. And I thought it was interesting seeing that when she talks about that with Iris. Well, there's a scene after that. She talks with Barry, and they're on a crime scene that's there. And they talk about her mimic powers. And Barry was about to talk about the Royal Flush Gang, but then he was in a coma, and then obviously he would have disclosed the fact that he's the Flash.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, they only kick into play when I'm stressed out or something like that. And like, yep, so sometime during the season, she's going to get Flash's powers.
Yep.
When she's stressed out, she's not going to know it's him. And boom, that's how Barry's going to get outed again to another person as being the Flash.
Yep. And look, and I said this last season, and I'm going to say it this season. I think the guy who plays his dad is leaving this season. I think that's why, she's the captain, right? She's got these powers. She's going to find out he's the Flash. She's going to take the place of Joe
West, yeah.
Joe West, in the circle here. And then I'm sad about that, because literally that means all of my favorites are gone from this show once Joe West is gone.
Yeah, Joe West is a pretty awesome character.
That first season, the best part of that first season is the father-son moments between him and Barry. Brought tears to my eyes at times. It was so good.
Yeah, they have a great chemistry together. So yeah, Frost pretty much on throwaway line says that Caitlin says that Frost is away for 2 weeks, which is pretty much, we probably won't see Killer Frost until the end of this whole Armageddon thing. That's my guess, and they just explain where she is since they were separated. But Caitlin announces that she's ready to go. She's up for dating now. She's ready to get out in the field again. It was a random thing that didn't go anywhere this episode, but I'm pretty sure we'll see where that goes this season. It was the first time since Ronnie passed away, so we officially find out she's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a nice callback to the
Yeah.
first season.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because they haven't mentioned it in like forever. And then one of our favorite storylines, Ray Palmer, when he does show up, he shows up to the West household, and you know,
Oh yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, the Allen West household, and interrupts a night where they're talking about like the candlelight, and they got pizza from, was it Milan or something like that, and they talk about having a baby again, and boom, Ray Palmer shows up. Can't let that storyline go just quite yet.
Can't. And didn't they mention that their kids are still there?
Their kids pop in from time to time.
Yeah.
Which was cool, but I do acknowledge you have to make the kids at some point for them to exist. Otherwise, would they Marty McFly and just disappear? I don't know.
But you know what? I'll tell you something, though. Again, I don't want to think about the Flash knocking boots with Iris. But now that we're thinking about it, let me ask you this question. Do you think the Flash is good in bed, or do you think he finishes too quickly?
I think everyone walks away fantastic, and it's over in 2 seconds, but he does everything he needs to do during that time.
I see. So it's not about the time. It's about the effort he puts in.
He puts in the effort, man. He checks all the boxes.
All right.
And speed time. Like, so picture it happens in 2 seconds, and bang, she's like, awesome. Let's go.
All right. Hey, best of both worlds there, right?
I don't know. I have not thought too much about the Flash having sex, but bang, there it is. That's how the magic goes.
Look, I'll tell you something. I wish I didn't think about it, but this show has made me think about the Flash having sex way too often.
Or Jonathan, he brings them into Flash time, and it goes in super slow motion.
Wow, so it happens over seconds, but it's in super slow motion, so it feels like days.
Exactly.
Wow, the Flash may be the best lover in the DCU then. the
it's
DC
entirely
universe.
Possible in any universe, for all we know.
You know what I think the worst lover is? It's Batman.
Think so?
Batman's the worst lover because he can't give. He's not a giver.
No, he's not.
But anyway,
but apparently it was a thing in the comics though, because apparently he was going to, and they took it out. Remember, there's that controversial thing.
That's true. That's true, and that's why he's the worst lover, because the DC executives just won't let the man do what needs to be done.
Oh Jesus, that's great. All right, so Jonathan here is enjoying the Royal Flush Gang. Jonathan, I hated the Royal Flush Gang. That was my knock in this episode. I think it was super cheesy, super goofy. The puns were out of control, which is fine. I was laughing about it because that's kind of what the show does. But I could have done without it.
Conceptually, I thought it was cool. I just didn't like the execution.
Exactly. Another comment. There was a line that was somewhere that the multiverse still existing, thinking that the multiverse might come back this season.
Hope so.
Yeah, and I just want explanations of why. You know, why is that happening? Because again, if Oliver gave his entire existence, became the Spectre, and did all this crap, but randomly was wiping out the multiverse to make Earth Prime, and decided to randomly just leave a handful over for some reason, don't know why. We got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing for that. You make great points. I don't even have a joke for that. I have no idea.
One thing I thought was cool too with Ray Palmer, to get back to him for a minute, was when he went to go suit up as the Atom. He kind of runs off and does the whole shirt thing. And you knew what that was. I thought that was great. Kudos to them for that.
I do love that that the CW completely leans into the fact that he played Superman. Like, I love that they do that.
Yeah, why not? And they're like I said, they're also clever about that type of stuff.
Yes,
nods to the past, and that's great. So Flash and Adam team up to fight Despero, who's apparently appears to be the villain at this time. We'll see, because by the end of the episode, when Ray decides to kind of step away, he's going to keep it moving after he helps him defeat Despero. He tells him, like, all right, just show him who you are. Like, you're doing great things here. Much more confident Barry this season so far. And, because he's leveled up. But, yeah, he goes ahead and tells him to do that. And he does that at the end of the episode. Despero shows up again, kind of tells him, check through me, see if I'm lying, because Despero's whole thing we see in the beginning of the episode, he mentions it during the battle, is that he's in 10 years in the future, Barry ends up destroying the planet. And they're like, all right, well, why? Why does this happen? And Barry just tells him straight out, like, dude, it's not me. I'm not deceiving you or nothing like that. Take a look at it. So he kind of like temporarily believes him and earns his trust. And then that takes us to, we'll see what happens next week. Oh, there is a mention of a call to Alex Danvers.
Yes, there is. Yeah, so we're gonna see some David Bowie and Supergirl soon.
Not looking forward to that.
You know who I'm looking forward to seeing on this show.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the same person. Actually, I'm going to take that back. No, I'm looking forward to seeing Black Lightning because, I mean, we both love Black Lightning.
Yeah, that's
I want to see how they bring in Ryan Wilder's Batwoman and acknowledge that Kate Kane is no longer Batwoman.
That's interesting. Yeah,
that's what I want to see. I want to see how that dynamic works.
That's true, because Kate Kane, as much as we didn't like Kate Kane, because all they did was talk about Kate Kane in season 2 of Batwoman, about the disappearance of Kate Kane, Kate Kane was a paragon, which was kind of a big thing, and she did help found the Justice League that nothing ever came of afterward, but that was a thing.
Yeah, it was their thing, so they had a Hall of Justice and everything, so they've never followed up on, so we'll see where that goes. All right, well, we got a finale of Doom Patrol.
Yes, or as I like to call it, Doom Force!
Doom Force!
This episode was great. What a fantastic finale. This show just brings me so much joy. So I want to streamline it because I know it's almost 2 hours and we still got a long way to go here. But so like the important parts here is the French gorilla smokes a cigarette and he does not kill Rogue. I love that moment. He's sitting there like Rouge. Madame Rouge, we see at the end of the last episode, like he's about to throw her off a cliff. And then we see her tied to a gurney and he's sitting there in his beret smoking a cigarette going, I don't really like to be evil anymore. So I'm going to let you live, but I'm not going to free you. You'll figure it out. He just leaves.
The Brotherhood of Evil is totally over being evil.
I love that so much because, and his thing is too. Now the brain has got the body. It's only a matter of time until he starts wanting to be evil again and try to take over the world, do whatever the hell he was doing. And my heart's not in it. And he actually gives him, you see later, like a Dear John letter. He kind of breaks up with him through the letter, which the brain is really mad about. He's like, 40 years of companionship and I get a letter?
I said it before. I'll say it again. I love the Brotherhood of Evil.
It's
just hilarious.
It's hysterical. So Madame Rouge is left to get out of the gurney. She has Cliff's brain on her. She looks over the cliff before falling over, or before Cliff falls over, rather, into it. And there's like a huge like robot at the bottom because apparently this is where the Brotherhood of Evil dumps their garbage. So this was like a failed plot. They just dumped in the woods over this cliff. And so she somehow gets free and puts Cliff's brain in the big robot, and she's walking around as this huge robot, and Cliff is like, wait a minute, fuck you, I can take over this body. And again, that's Cliff. That's not me cursing, that's Cliff.
No, there's a whole, if you watch the show, then Cliff's got the ultimate potty mouth.
Oh, yeah. But before Cliff takes over, Madame Rouge uses the big body to squash the brain in Cliff's body, and he survives. And that, I get it, that makes sense. We don't know what he's made out of. But then when Cliff kind of gives Madame Rouge an option, like, well, kill me or get the hell out of here. And she flies away. She leaves. And that is what Cliff goes, okay, she's not as bad. And that comes in later. Cliff then goes on the cross-country apology tour, where he's literally a giant robot crashing his way across country to his daughter's house to apologize for stealing her credit card and using it for pornography. And she forgives him.
Oh, well, I mean, she sees this massive robot. I mean, I don't know how, it looks like the size of a transformer.
It's huge.
Which by the way, is a great line. He does. What was it
Yes.
to Jane? Where he's like talks about being a transformer, and she's like, "Wait a second." She says, "I'm like, can you fucking transform?" Well, no, not really. Like, oh, get the hell out of here then with that.
I mean, it's so good. So then Cliff has a nice moment with his daughter, and then I guess that's the big Cliff thing, right? Like, until the end, which I'll get to that. I'm trying to go by character here.
No, okay.
So then Jane has this thing where all of the altars have gone with the Mist, who's one of the Sisterhood of Dada. Oh, the Fog, rather. The Fog. And she has kind of given all of Jane's altars away to get out of Jane's head and have their own life. So Jane has to sort of give up control of as the main to the Doctor persona to get them all back, because the girl has been Jane, her mind, the underground is starting to crumble because they're not there, and so she needs them back there to help the girl, which of course she does. Larry and his symbiote, the symbiote needs to merge with him and sort of become Negative Man again, sort of like the old one, and that's what he's going through. He's like, I've done this before. I don't want to do this. I should have left this guy. I should have left this thing to die. I don't want to, but he eventually does take it on and becomes a more powerful version of what he was before. So that was cool.
What about when they go to? But hold on, I'm sorry.
No. Please stop me, because I'm going through a lot of things very quickly. So stop me.
Well, what about when he goes ahead and they bond, and then they're like, "Wait, we got to go stop Cliff because obviously the brakes are off and he can't stop it." He gets super hyped up, flies out the thing, and wham! Right on his face. I thought that was hilarious.
That was hysterical because he's still learning his new powers. Right, he's not as powerful. There's a great moment with, I think, Cyborg, where Cyborg like really helps Cliff through this. He takes on the symbiote himself until they can get to Cliff's room so Cliff can do what he needs to do. So I thought that was really nice.
Larry helps Larry.
Oh, Larry. I'm sorry, not Cliff. Larry. Cliff's my favorite.
Cliff's too busy walking around in a massive Transformer robot body.
Exactly. I love Cyborg in this. I think Cyborg, this is a great iteration of Cyborg. I cannot believe they got this very serious Justice League character to work in Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
But they have in such so many cool emotional ways. Then let's see. We got Rita. Rita is out for blood. Rita wants to kill Madame Rouge. Rita murders the Brain, which in a very brutal way. Like, she goes to the Brain. He's alive. He survived the crushing. He's trying to get Rita to team up with him to take out Madame Rouge, which she intends on doing. Her plan is to kill her. And she goes, okay, I'll help you. And she unscrews the top of what is Cliff's head, the Robot Man's head, and takes scalding water and just pours it on the Brain and kills him. It was the most brutal thing I've seen in this show. And the fact that Rita did it made it worse.
Yeah, when I saw that coming, I'm like, oh god, and it made me like, ugh.
Yeah,
and it takes a lot for me to do that, like be squeamish at all.
Same here, but it was just so unexpected, you know. I didn't like I saw it coming at some point, but not quickly enough to be like, okay, you know, this is coming. And it's like, and again, Rita at this point is such a heroic character this season. Past season, she's such a meek character. So to see her straight up murder a guy, intense.
Yeah, and because she's pretty much had enough of everyone's bullshit at this point.
She's done. And she goes back. So Madame Rouge travels through time, which of course wipes her memory. And she runs into Reed. She goes back. She leaves herself notes, which I think is funny. So she shows up and she's like, okay, you're not going to remember who you are. You've done bad things. There's like a potty mouth robot and a girl, an emo woman. I forget how she describes them, but she's like, oh, okay, that's you. Yeah. And then Cliff kind of goes crazy and everyone goes to run to stop Cliff from destroying the town. And Rita sees Madame Rouge and she starts choking her. And she's about to kill her. And she's like, I don't remember or whatever. And she's like, no, I want you to remember. Look me in the eye. Remember why I want to kill you. And it brings Madame Rouge back. And it's such a great moment between the two because she goes, you shouldn't kill me because I'm not worth it.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's what gets Rita to step down, right? I'm not worth you becoming the villain of this piece.
Mm-hmm.
My life isn't worth that. And I think that's a beautiful moment between those two characters. And then they go off, they stop Cliff. It is successful. They have a nice celebratory, like, we saved the town from us, but we still saved the town. And then Rita gets everyone jazzed to sort of like, okay, we could do this. We could be a superhero team. And there's a giant scrotum and dick and balls like running around.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I don't know. At first, I thought it was the were-asses again, but no, it was just a giant scrotum. And so they all get in the time machine except for Cliff, who's still huge. He's not back in his old body.
No, and that's what I think was really interesting about this season is the way it ends off is the characters are different. Like Robot Man is Cliff's brain in a massive body.
Yes.
You know, Cyborg is not Cyborg. He's just himself now. So there's that. You know, and Madame Rouge is pretty much joining the Doom Patrol.
Doom Force.
But Cliff wants it to be Doom Force. Negative Man is Negative Man again, but in a different way.
Yes. Yeah, and it's changed all of the characters.
Oh, like, and Jane also, the primary now, is the
doctor.
The doctor who wants to be in control.
Yeah. And so, so everyone is different. It's a different Doom Patrol. It's Doom Force.
Doom Force.
Fighting the nutsack of evil. And, you know, again, I like that. I really love that Madame Rouge wants to be a part of it and that they let her. You know, because
she wants to be redeemed. She points to all of them and says, yes, you've all had second chances. Now let me do it too.
Exactly. And I think I thought it worked perfectly. The character beats were there. I like that actress and that character enough to have her join the Doom Patrol next season as a member. So I got nothing. I have no dings in this episode. I thought it was a great episode start to finish. The only reason it's not the best episode of the season is because the Eternal Flagellation happened, and that was the best episode of the season. And I don't think anything was going to change that, but this is a close second. And guys, Doom Force all the way, man. I can't wait for this to come back.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. This was one of the best episodes of the season. The season's very strong. They'll follow up with the were zombie asses, wherever the hell that it turns out to be. They don't seem to forget shit like that ever.
They don't.
So yeah, it sucks. A great season. Sucks that it has to end because we're not going to have it until 2022 at some point.
That's the rough part about these, man. That and Titans. You know how much I love Titans last season? It's like now I got to wait a year.
Yep, and we'll see how that goes. But pretty much, we get Hawkeye next week.
We do, and that's I'm there. I'm in for it. We got some new stuff next week, and then let's go Hawkeye, man. Hopefully, Kingpin is there.
I agree. But then, so now we're pretty much at our film portion of the show, where we will continue our live action Spider-Verse, and. It's damn it! My thing didn't. The thing did not go off.
While you fix that, I'm gonna make it. I need to say this that I am giving I know that there's an explicit language warning when you download this podcast, but I'm gonna say that I am doubling down that explicit language warning right now. I can't help the things that are gonna come out of my mouth with this movie.
I couldn't resist it. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist it. Blame Bert because Bert gave me the idea inadvertently when he mentioned the score.
God. All right, Bert, you know what? You're dead to me, my friend. No, that's not true. That's not true, actually. I'm going to reach out to you and come on my Bondcast, which comes out soon. Which comes out actually November 29th, 8:30.
So, Jason, I'm going to let you kick this one off because you have to.
I'm going to say this. Like, if you're under 18 and cursing bothers you, you need to turn this off right now. If I got students out there who found the podcast listening, you got to turn this off right now. Okay? And if you don't, that's on you. All right? I don't want to hear Mr. Vashetic has a potty mouth. I don't want to hear this old bald man has a potty mouth. I don't care. I'm asking you to turn this off because things are going to get real. I hated this movie. I'm going to give everyone a moment while I get myself ready to discuss this movie and do something I've never done on this show.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, wow. This is getting serious. This is getting serious. All right, so as Jason is taking a shot, if you're not watching us, we're continuing our journey through the live-action Spider-Verse, as we said we would, leading up to Spider-Man No Way Home. And this brings us to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2014.
There's nothing amazing about this movie. I'm going to point that out right now. I'm going to say this. I give it my warning. Fuck this movie with the razor-sharp dildo from Seven in the tightest orifice, which is probably the ear or the nose, the most painful thing you can think of. This movie was offensive from start to finish. This movie was garbage. I will anything good. I'm going to address good things said about this movie right now. Things that are good that I've heard about this movie. The suit's good. Who gives a shit? Who cares?
I said that.
You did, jokingly. But, okay, I'll even give it. The suit's good. You know what the suit's good in? The comic book. Or the read the comic book for 2.5 hours and be more fulfilled. Or the video game. There are multiple nice suits in the video game. Play that for 2.5 hours and enjoy yourself. Second thing people say is good about this. Well, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have a great chemistry. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield are fucking in this movie, okay? Like in real life, they are dating. So you know who has great chemistry? My married friends have great chemistry. You know what I don't want to see? Them making out, okay? So no, that was not a plus for me that they have good chemistry and they're tonguing each other in the movie. Is there anything else good that is said about this movie that I need to shoot down right now? Andrew Garfield, I've heard this. Andrew Garfield's a good actor. I'm going to say this. Andrew Garfield, good actor. Emma Stone, good actress. Jamie Foxx, fantastic actor. You watch Ray and you will be changed in how you look at Jamie Foxx as an actor. Paul Giamatti, love Paul Giamatti, great actor. You know who's not great in this movie? Any of the 4 fucking people I mentioned. They are all garbage in this movie, and it's not their fault. It is the fault of the writing and directing. Okay? Jamie Foxx, who is the equivalent to the stapler guy from Office Space. Spider-Man, you forget my name. It's my birthday. I think you have my stapler. You have my stapler in with the electric eels. What the fuck is going on in this movie, Eddie? What's going on here?
Oh, Jonathan, to answer your question, yes, this is the movie that
Yes.
Jason compared to the Human Centipede on Facebook.
And let me explain to you why. It's not that, like, the Human Centipede's gross, right? But I'm going to be clear. The only people who are getting defecated in their mouth in this movie is us, the audience, who paid to see it, okay? Those are the only people eating shit, is us, the audience, for this piece of garbage. Why I compared it to the Human Centipede is because, like the Human Centipede, I finished this movie and felt broken. Like, I literally I was texting Ed and Tony the whole night, just like things, because I was just like, but wait, this doesn't make sense. So when I first saw the Human Centipede, the next day, it was the 4th of July, and I had a barbecue at my old apartment. My wife made me watch the Human Centipede. She loves stuff like that. And I would just walk up to people randomly and go, but he actually is a doctor. He would know that just sewing lips to ass does not make one digestive tract. It's just making 3 separate digestive tracts. This doesn't make sense. And then I would walk away. And that's how I felt after this movie. I felt like just walking up and going, but the rhino in a mech suit doesn't make any sense. Why would, like, that? That's why I compared it to the Human Centipede, because it broke me a little bit.
This is the comment from earlier that Bert dropped in that made me make sure that I squeezed in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 score is super underrated.
Bert, I'll tell you something. If you could divorce this music from this god awful movie, and I was just listening, if it just came on like a playlist with super cool scores from movies like this, and I never saw this movie, or even better, this movie never existed, just the score existed, I agree with you. But this movie mars the score. I can't listen to it.
Oh boy. Listen, we've referenced how much I've referenced how much I can't stand this film. Leading up to this, I saw it once before. Now I've seen it twice. Because that is the dedication for the show. We will watch it again. Both times I could not sit through it in one sitting. I had to break it up in at least in half, which I don't do for movies very often, ever.
I want to say that I meant to do that. I meant to watch a half an hour of this movie, maybe 45 minutes, then stop, play a video game because I really wanted to get some gaming time in, then go back, maybe watch it the next day. But I very quickly realized that once I turned it off, it was never, ever, under any circumstances, going back on. So the only way I could actually review it for this show was to sit and watch it in one sitting. And if that is not proving my dedication, then I don't know what will, man, because that was painful.
Jason, your dedication's never in question, ever, ever, ever. This, Jason, all right, so you've heard me shit on this movie for years now.
Yep.
Now you've seen it. Is that
Yep.
lying?
Eddie, I have avoided seeing this movie since it came out in 2014. 2014 is when it came out.
Yep.
I avoided it. I knew I wanted nothing to do with it. It's one of those movies that if it came on cable, I would turn it off.
Yes.
All right? It is worse than I thought it would be. Now, I need to apologize here. Venom, I'm sorry. I sat here and I shat on Venom and I talked badly about the movie Venom. But you know what? Venom is the gold at the end of the goddamn rainbow compared to this movie. I'm sorry that I ever said a bad word about Venom or let there be carnage, because this movie exists. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Ed. At the end of this, when we usually end the show, we have our talk about what we're doing next week. Once you end that call, I am denying the existence of this movie. So when we do, and I'm not being dramatic here, I have to, because if I don't pretend this movie doesn't exist, I can never review another movie on this show, because all I have to do is go, well, I mean, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 exists, so this isn't that bad.
This is the worst movie we've ever reviewed on the show.
Hands down.
And we've done Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Look, I'd watch that for 7 hours before I watched 20 minutes of this movie again.
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That is Hasselhoff. That's something. That is something.
It's definitely worse than Suicide Squad.
I liked... Look...
No. I'm just talking about from my point of view.
Okay, fair enough.
I hated Suicide Squad.
I'll say this. Before this, the worst superhero movie I thought I ever saw was Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, it doesn't look so bad. I'd watch that 3 times in a row before I watch this again once.
This movie is worse than Wonder Woman 84.
It's terrible. At least the people who made Wonder Woman 84 had some concept of who the character of Wonder Woman and her and people are. Like, it wasn't a good concept, but at least it was a concept. They didn't think that the Green Goblin actually was turning into a fucking goblin. The man is turning into a goblin in this movie. And I don't want to hear, well, in the comic book, he turns into a goblin. Because here's the thing. If the Green Goblin is the villain of your movie and he turns into a goblin, then he is the villain of your movie. He's not a secondary character getting a hernia by trying to pull up the Sinister Six into this god-awful piece of garbage. Because, yes, I think this movie got a hernia with all of the heavy lifting it had to do to build the Sinister Six.
All right, well, let's get into the details of it. Let's talk about how much vitriol we have for this film.
And you need to drive this, because all I can do is badmouth it. So you need to drive this. I'm sorry.
I have a lot of questions. I'm gonna go through the notes. Usually we will go character by character, but I mean, we kind of covered a lot of that in our review of The Amazing Spider-Man. So,
which I want to say, better movie. I would watch that 3 times in a row.
Oh, I
watch this movie again.
As much as I hate that film, there's no question about it that it's a better film. They both suck.
No,
we're comparing dog shit to cat shit at this point. I mean,
that's exactly the analogy I was going to use.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. So the film opens up with this wacky thing of Peter's parents and a mystery and all this other shit, which goes nowhere again. And then we get a random shot of Spidey falling from where? He's falling from the sky? Was he in space or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. What is the deal with Peter Parker's ringtone in this film being the Spider-Man song?
Oh, because it's funny, Ed. You didn't know that? It's funny and self-referential.
It keeps happening through the film, and I'm like, why? How? Who? What?
It's like in the good Tobey Maguire movies where the Asian lady on the violin plays the Spider-Man song, except it's a ringtone because it's millennial.
And
I'm
guess
not
what, though?
I'm not crapping on millennials, but this is like really, really, really trying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But it's different because in the Sam Raimi films, the woman made up a song about Spider-Man.
That's it. That's
it makes sense.
That's my
Doesn't
point.
take a lot.
It's a street performer going, man, Spider-Man's great. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. This is like someone made this professionally.
And why is he humming it while fighting the quote-unquote Rhino in the beginning of the film?
That's not the Rhino. That's not even Paul Giamatti, my friend. That's not even Paul Giamatti. But I don't know. I don't know why is anything happen? Why is the Rhino in this movie? Why is Paul Giamatti in this movie? Why is he Russian mob? Why does he have a bad Russian accent? Why does Peter Parker pull his pants down and make fun of him?
No idea.
Why does
happen? Well, that's where Spider Dick shows up again, because that's what we call, because this Peter, as much as there seems to be a group of fans out there who like this Spider-Man, they're like, well, Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man. No. He goes over the line of being Spider Dick, not Spider-Man with quips, which I will say, though, there are a few fight scenes he has when he refers to Electro as sparkles and things like that, where I'm like, okay, that's kind of Spider-Man-ish. I'll give you a little bit of that. But then we got the pulling of the pants down with the Rhino and all this other shit, so he goes back to being Spider-Man. After that whole thing happens, he shows up to his graduation and kisses Gwen Stacy in front of the whole graduating crowd.
Gwen Stacy, who he promised Dennis Leary wouldn't date, and that went nowhere.
So, but we get random visions of him seeing Captain Stacy just staring at him throughout the film, which goes, yeah, they go nowhere. Did you just need to pay Dennis Leary? Just go like, hey, let's just hook him up and that's it.
And he has no lines. It's just Dennis Leary going, just staring at him. It's like, what is he even doing there? Why does he need to be there? Like, you're telling me Peter Parker is feeling guilty for breaking his promise? The promise that he broke 5 minutes after making it? He doesn't give a fuck. This is sociopath Peter Parker.
Yeah, like, I don't understand is how he makes the promise at the end of the first film is like, oh yeah, I'm pretty much going to break it. Then we see he broke it in the beginning of this film, and then sees visions of him, so then decides, nah, Gwen, I can't be with you. And she breaks up with him, rightfully so, because she's like, dude, you're all over the place. Like, cut the shit. I didn't make the promise. You made the stupid promise. So, whatever.
If I were going to say anything nice about this movie, which I will not, that's okay. I'll take. I like that Gwen Stacy has a little bit of agency there. They steal the agency. They completely destroy Gwen Stacy's agency by the end of this movie.
Oh yeah,
which is actually what made me hate this movie as opposed to just really dislike it. But yeah, like she breaks up with him. That's kind of cool. I do have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes with the graduation dinner, when he goes and has her break up with him.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to eat with her family, are they eating branzino, do you think?
No, not this time, no.
You don't think this branzino?
They were having dumplings or some shit like that? I don't know.
Was it branzino dumplings, you think? Because branzino was a big thing in this family.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of got dropped. I mean, for whatever reason that was. I also noticed there was an Amy Bryant cameo in this film from currently on SNL. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, that was pretty cool. So then there's another scene where Spider-Man's swinging around town and sees a kid getting picked on randomly and shows up to, was he going to fight some middle school kids?
With this Peter Parker? Yes.
And it looked like he was about to.
Look, this Peter Parker murders middle school kids. What are you talking about?
Dude, I was like, what is going on there? And then after that, because they go through this whole thing where Peter's like, doing a lot of Spider-Man stuff and he's constantly changing out of his suit and looking beat up. Which we get Aunt May looking like a complete moron, not knowing any of this and seeing anything. She walks into his bedroom, and all he keeps screaming about how he's naked and very naked. I'm naked. I'm very naked. I'm so naked. I'm naked. I'm naked.
Peter Parker, you're a teenage boy. You want to keep your grandmother out of there. Your aunt out of there. Aunt May, I'm masturbating. All right, I got brazzers going on here. Okay, like seriously, just
I didn't know
why not? Just go
fucking
fucking balls to the wall here if that's what you want to do. I'm naked. Get out of here.
He just keeps saying that, and he's got like dirt all over his face. But he says he's cleaning the chimney. Then she quickly says there is no chimney. Then she tells him there is no chimney, but yet she drops it and goes away. Oh yeah, Peter. Okay, I believe you. Like, this Aunt May is really stupid. Like
It's
really
okay,
stupid.
Peter. I've got this thing at the hospital where I got to be a nurse. Like, why does Aunt May have a storyline? Why do I need to know what Aunt May is doing when Peter Parker's not on screen? Do you know what I never question? Unless we're talking about Marissa Tomei, because I love Marissa Tomei as an actress, having nothing to do with Aunt May. What I never wonder is, what is Aunt May doing when Peter Parker's out? And you know what? In the Sam Raimi movies, we don't have to, because Aunt May doesn't have her own thing going on where it's like, I'm destitute and I'm broke and I need to go and become a nurse. I'm so sad and lonely. No, Aunt May's beating the shit out of Dr. Octopus with her umbrella. That's what Aunt May's doing when Peter Parker's not around. This is sad. What a waste of Sally Field's talent.
Yeah, this Aunt May is total trash. All right, so then we get by the way, so one of the things that pisses me off with these films is the relegation of Norman Osborn to pretty much being just a random sick dude who's an old sick guy who has one scene in this movie and fucking dies. Spider-Man's greatest nemesis.
Yep.
This is what you've reduced him to.
Let's take Spider-Man's greatest nemesis, who actually for 30 years was dead. Yes. Like, they brought him back, but he was dead a long time. Like, in comic book lore, the man was dead forever, even though they brought him back, right? Yes. That's how long that was. Let's take Spider-Man's greatest villain, who dies accidentally by his own hand via Spider-Man. In a wonderful scene in the comic book, Death of Gwen Stacy. It happens right after it. And let's just kill him in the first thing. And let's get emo Harry Osborn in there, who, was Peter Parker's friend 10 years ago when they were fucking 6 or 7, because they say that he was been away for 10 years. How close could these two possibly be that they knew each other in grade school and that was it?
And no mention of him in the first film either.
No.
So Norman Osborn dies, never becomes the Green Goblin, but Harry does.
And Harry becomes not just the Green Goblin, because this movie thinks he really becomes a goblin, because whatever's going on with him, he is taking on goblin features. Like, get out of here. If you're going to give me the Green Goblin transforming into a goblin, as I said, that's your story. I don't need other things going on, and this is, the Green Goblin is also a goblin and also putting together the Sinister Six and is also knows who Spider-Man is. That's not an incidental, but it is treated as an incidental in this movie to Electro. And I'm saying Electro only because that's what he's billed as. This is not Electro.
He calls himself.
They all name themselves.
I'm Electro, don't you know?
Which,
we'll get to him eventually.
Somehow better than I am Rhino, but we'll get to that too.
Oh, exactly. So, by the way, another main huge character in Spider-Man is J. Jonah Jameson, who gets left to a name drop of someone that this Peter Parker is just emailing, and a reference to 1961 that he would get paid. Suddenly, it's just a very passing thing. Oh, Peter's taking pictures for the Bugle. He's getting paid. Oh, they would pay you fairly in 1961 because that was when Spider-Man debuted.
Yeah, right.
We get your little thing here. So we also get the inclusions of Alistair Smythe and Felicia Hardy and the Rhino.
No, we don't.
What I'm saying is this movie could not help itself. We're plugging in everything.
I mean, and Felicia Hardy is what? The Green Goblin's secretary? I mean...
Yes.
Get out of here. What?
Adam's Felicity Jones, who was in Rogue One after this.
What?
I don't know.
And this, a lot of my notes are this, but I'm going to say this. Felicia Hardy is Green Goblin's secretary. Fuck you, movie. That's a lot of my notes, by the way. A question and fuck you, movie.
So we get to the Electro origin, which we alluded to.
Yes, which here's my note on that. Electric eels? Fuck you, movie.
He falls in a vat of electric eels and Electro?
No sense. Makes no sense. And even worse than that, it's like, so he gets saved by Spider-Man, who says weirdly, like, lick my finger or I'll fix your hair. What? Okay, whatever. And then he becomes a super Spider-Man fan, and then he goes to work And I don't know, it's the end of the day. Everyone's going home that he's just getting there. And then they're all
well,
like,
I think they were all leaving early because Norman Osborn died, and it was
oh, okay, all right. So they're all,
like
but he's still late. I mean, he's not getting there in the morning.
No.
And then we need to have shorthand that his colleagues are dicks. So we have BJ Novak, who I don't think is a dick, but he looks like it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, you're working late and we're going home. And then, Office Space stapler guy Electro's like, but it's my birthday, it's my birthday. Don't you know it's my birthday? You know my name is my birthday and my stapler. Okay, I'll go work on the eels. Like, what? Like, I want to say something that I promised that I would read the Electro origin for this episode, and I didn't. Do you know why? Because if there is any connection to this movie, I resign as a Spider-Man fan. So I just didn't read it.
Oh, wow.
What is with this Electro, man? And I'm not shitting on Jamie Foxx. I like Jamie Foxx a lot. Again,
I'm excited to see him now in No Way Home.
I am too. I'm super excited to see a lot of these two of these characters, because I like the Lizard a lot as well. I'm excited to see these two characters be redeemed by the MCU. But, like, what is this? Like, I know that there's a subsection of people who go, Electro's not black. That's an issue. No. That's not Electro. I don't care if you make Electro black and it's Jamie Foxx. He's a great actor. But give me Electro.
Yeah, this is not it.
Miss Stapler, don't you remember my name, Spider-Man? You saved me. You don't know my name? How dare you not know my name?
So whatever. We talked about the intro of Harry Osborn. Then there's another scene where Peter Parker goes ahead to talk to Gwen Stacy and just completely just walks through traffic and just cars. You hear accidents happening and shit like that. Like, okay, dickhead Peter Parker once again. Then there's a big Times Square battle with Electro, and then
that's the one where he's like, "You don't remember my name." I'm
yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He fights Electro in the whole fucking Times Square thing. You covered that part of it. But then after that, randomly decides to, I'm going to go resume my search for my father and parents. So
why
make sure
not?
that they were okay. Like, what the fuck is going on there?
And I want to throw out, getting back to that Electro fight in Times Square, he knows who Electro is. One of Electro's big thing is that Spider-Man forgets his name. Except he literally goes, "Oh, yeah, the guy with the blueprints. I remember you."
He remembered a lot about him.
Here's the thing. If I am just walking in the city and fake Russian Rhino is destroying things and Spider-Man saves my life, I'm not going to expect him to remember me. I'm not. The guy saves a lot of people all the time. Certainly, if he remembers me, he's not going to remember my name. If I then become a supervillain and Spider-Man goes, "Oh, shit, you're the teacher I saved," right? I'd be like, "Yes, you remember me." I wouldn't be like, "No, but you don't remember my name and it's my birthday." And then, of course, the NYPD shoots him because, why not? Let's make the NYPD the villains of this. Like, for no reason, too. Like, he doesn't do... Like, Spider-Man is actually negotiating with him, and he's about to talk him down. The NYPD is like, fuck this. Let's just shoot this guy.
I have absolutely no idea.
There's nothing.
What the hell's going on?
It's just stupid.
Yeah. So, all right. So, give me two. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
So here's another thing. They talk about like a Spider-Man self-heal, right? Okay, well, I've got Spider-Man self-heal. I can just heal myself. I looked this up. That's how much I hated this movie, is I looked it up to see the science. Spider-Man self-heal is specific to limbs. If a spider loses a limb, they're able to heal that limb, sort of like lizard regeneration. As far as I know, Harry Osborn is not missing a limb. He's just got goblinitis. So the spider self-heal from Spider-Man's blood would not help him. And I found that out from a 15-second Google search.
That's I don't even know. Yeah, the whole Spider-Man self-healing blood. Peter, he wants Peter's blood, or he wants Spider-Man's blood to heal him. I don't know what's going on there.
No sense. And
But
he gets this indignation when he finds out that Peter Parker's Spider's like, Spider-Man didn't say no, you did. It's like, dude, you're my friend from grade school.
yeah,
If my like, here's the thing. I have my friend Pete. I've known from grade school, but I have actually kept in touch with him till now. If he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I need your blood to survive," yeah, no problem. I've known you all my life. If like random person in seat 3 from my fucking second grade class who I haven't seen since then reaches out to me and says, "I need your blood," I'm like, I don't know you.
yeah.
You know, I don't care how long we spent skipping stones, which they do in this movie for 10 goddamn minutes. Harry and Peter skipping fucking stones. I don't care how many stones you skip. I haven't seen you in 10 years. You're not getting my goddamn blood, and you have no right to be angry about it.
So, can you tell me why the whole Peter's parents thing, he stumbles upon this Roosevelt thing and goes into this Roosevelt shit and then finds a train where there's a computer there that has a pretty much an explanation of that his father was not a spy who ran away with like secret healing and technology and shit like that and was keeping it for himself, just to tell Peter that, and that's it. That's the story. That's what you wrapped his parents' mysterious storyline up with.
That's it.
Why
not? Come on, it's a great bow to it.
And then Harry, like I said, stumbling upon a computer where he has a chip that his father gave him, like a hard drive thing. He drops it on a desk by accident, and it lights up this computer desk where he finds all these Easter eggs about Ravencroft and and Venom stuff and all this other shit. Like, what? There's a lot of accidental shit that happens during this entire movie.
Lots of everything. So many things are accidental. It's so stupid.
So another thing too. So in Peter's encounter with Electro, he shocked his web shooters, right? So he goes on YouTube to search some kook on how to not do that, and then Gwen ends up telling him eventually how to do it from like 8th grade science class. The first movie was trying so hard to establish how Peter was like the smartest guy in the room everywhere. This movie, he totally forgot science.
Well, of course, with all the Spider-Manning and the sex with Gwen Stacy, the scientist just gets out of you. This makes no sense. There's nothing. And let me just throw this in. Dr. Kafka, fuck you, okay? I'm not even going to tell you what that means.
So he's in Oscorp trying to go ahead and he goes to, what was it? He goes to meet Harry. They talk, and then he runs into Gwen Stacy. By the way, he asks Gwen, "What are you doing here?" She works there, you asshole. Like, you didn't know that.
And also, you've been stalking her this entire goddamn movie. You never need to ask her why she is someplace because you are Spider-Man stalking up on the goddamn rafters. It's creepy, by the way. I would get a restraining order out on this guy. And this, again, I doubled down on saying, if Gwen Stacy lived and they got married, he would be an emotionally abusive husband.
Wow. Zing. So then he uses his web shooter while he's in Oscorp. Oscorp, which he knows has cameras everywhere and does all this shit. That's what you chose to do before knocking Gwen Stacy into a closet for a random kiss that makes absolutely no sense. Okay.
And and that's the thing is, they're on and off. They're on and off. They're on and off. Why? Who cares?
Yes.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. So then, Harry goes to go ahead and they have a scene where Electro is like in Ravencroft and he's locked up and everything. And that's where we get the line, "Don't you know I'm Electro?" Oh, no. So that's how you get. Oh, okay.
No, see, I didn't. I thought your name was Max, which you're pissed that people don't remember. Sorry, I didn't know you changed your name. Electro? Is it because of those electric eels you encountered?
And Harry breaks into Ravencroft and constantly keeps screaming how he needs him. He needs him. I need you. I need you to help him with, to help track down Spider-Man and all this other shit. Stop. By the way, what are Electro's powers in this movie?
Force lighting.
Totally grab bag of random shit. He can
lighting.
Go through electric sockets. He can do anything involving electric.
a car in that scene, in the scene we were talking about before, a car or a truck is coming at him, and he shoots it with lightning, lifts it up over him, and tosses it. That's force lightning. That's not lightning. Electro can't do that. If lightning strikes from the sky and hits you, it doesn't then pull you up and toss you about. It's lightning.
Yeah, he shows up this random scene where he comes out of an electric socket and has a suit that we have no explanation of where it came from.
And let me tell you something. When the electric gremlin in Gremlins 2 makes more sense than your Electro, you have trouble.
Yeah. So then Harry turns into the Goblin. And by the way, so the scene when Harry eventually gets a hold of the venom that was extracted from the spiders that bit Peter and everything like that, because we find out in this film that Richard Parker put the DNA inside these things to only match with his DNA.
Yes.
That's why it worked on Peter, and it can't anyone else, it would kill them because human trials didn't work with all of this stuff. Harry takes it, turns into an actual goblin. And by the way, there's in that scene, he's in I guess their R&D department or whatever. There's tentacles for a Doc Ock.
Yes,
and there's a vulture wing and all this other shit. You're like, wow, so we're foreshadowing Sony was obsessed with a Sinister Six movie for years. Obsessed with it because the Avengers were there and that worked out. So they're like, well, what team do we own the IP for? Oh, that's right, the Sinister Six. Jason, what would a Sinister Six movie look like without Spider-Man?
Garbage.
What would they do? What would they do?
I don't know. Who would they fight? They would just be. It would be the villains taking over the city and destroying things. I don't know.
I don't know why Sony was obsessed with it, but apparently they were, because this whole movie is forcing it down your throat, obsessing over the Sinister Six.
Yeah, again, this movie must have a hernia with all the heavy lifting it's doing to try to start the Sinister Six.
It's incredible.
Because you get the weird vulture thing, you get the weird Dr. Octopus thing, and then you get the rhino suit, and Harry Osborn even says, "Oh, he's just the start." Before we move on, the spiders that made Spider-Man is from his dad's DNA, so it would only ever work on a Parker. Fuck you, movie.
Yeah, I just
have to say it. I'm every time I have a note like that, I'm saying it. That's why I gave that explicit warning in the beginning.
So then, then they get to the scene where Peter, as Spider-Man, goes out and writes "I love you" on a bridge, swoops up, grabs Gwen Stacy because she's off. She's going to leave to England. Right, because she's going to go to Oxford, and they have this whole conversation on top of the bridge, and he's pretty much saying like, "Yo, I'm going to follow you everywhere. It's fine." And he says, "Quote: There's a million reasons why we shouldn't be together, but I'm tired of them. What? Because her father that you made the promise to, pretty much said, don't do that. Protect my daughter. You're going to have villains. You're going to have enemies. I'm tired of that." That's all. That's why I'm doing it. I'm tired of the promise.
I'm tired of the promise. I never really was into the promise. I broke the promise 5 seconds after the man was dead. I just didn't want to go to his funeral, which is why I didn't break the promise at his funeral. I didn't feel like going there. Come on.
Incredible.
And actually, I noticed this. This is how badly I hated this movie. There is a line, just one line, where Andrew Garfield's English accent comes out.
Oh, really?
Did you notice it?
No, I didn't.
He says, "I'm going to put you down right here," to Gwen Stacy.
Oh, wow.
And it's around this time, and that is in an English accent. And I made a note, did they just not feel like fucking dubbing that? Did they not feel like saying, "Hey, take 2, Andrew, you're British, Peter Parker is not. Can you give it to me in the American accent?" No. They were too busy taking victory laps at this point.
Well, they're like, he's going to move to England eventually. By the way, so that in that situation, though, this Peter Parker's like, "Oh, fuck Aunt May, I don't need her." Earlier in the film, he has a conversation with her, telling her how he's the world and that she's the world to him and everything like that.
Because he's a sociopath and he cares about no one but himself.
Douche. So the next battle, the last battle with Electro's having his whole battle with Spider-Man and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
May I?
Itsy Bitsy Spider?
Fuck you, movie. That was it.
why is he hitting him around to electric things that are sounding out the Itsy Bitsy Spider? And he's like, oh, I hate this song. Dude.
I don't know, because they think 4-year-olds are watching this movie?
How about the pointless plane crashing thing? There's a blackout that's caused by their fight. The two planes are about to crash, and then the lights get turned, electric turns back on, and they don't crash. What does that have to do with anything?
I'm going to be honest with you. Around this point, I started walking around my apartments and doing things, so I don't remember that. I could not tell you how Elektra dies in this movie. I just got up and I made a sandwich.
Oh, they supercharge him, and he's just dead.
Okay, that sounds right.
So then, then Harry shows up as an actual goblin. After they fight with Electro, they have their own fight. You know, Harry puts it together. Oh, you know, that's Gwen Stacy, blah, 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 this and that. I'm a kidnapper. They have this whole fight. And then we get the death of Gwen Stacy in the form of she's falling. Peter tries to save her with his web and accidentally snaps her neck.
And this is what made me hate this movie. And if you'll excuse me, one more so I can discuss the end of this.
Oh, boy.
First off, the entire character arc, and I put that in quotes, of Gwen Stacy, because she is no one is a character, no one has an arc in this movie, but her entire character arc is, I am sick of people telling me what to do. My father told me what to do. You're telling me what to do. I make my own decisions. And what's the first decision she makes? The one that gets her killed. Get the fuck out of here. So you mean to tell me the message of this movie is women should listen to the men?
I don't know if there's any messages in this movie.
No, there isn't. But it's just so stupid. Like, if you wanted to make this work, either she listens to Peter and hides and still gets killed, and the message is, well, had she been able to have her own autonomy, she would have lived. Or she goes there for the fight and actually does something besides die. Because all she does is she goes up there and Peter's like, you can't be here. And she goes, I'm sick of people telling me what to do. I can fight Electro and the Green Goblin. I'm just like Spider-Man. All right, she didn't say that. But you know what I'm saying? But she insists on being there for no reason when she's obviously going to be killed. And then she's killed. The moral of the story, listen to your boyfriend and dad and don't have autonomy. It infuriated me. And then her death is like, it's so dramatic and it's in slow-mo. And I get that this is sort of comic books accurate, but I think the execution is terrible, where he like hits her, he gets her with the web and he pulls her and you hear the deafening crack of and it's like, it's such a brutal death for a movie that 10 minutes later has Paul Giamatti in a fucking terrible CGI Rhino show up and say, I am Rhino? This is why I was telling you, Ed, that I think that this is worse than Batman and Robin, and this is why. When Batman and Robin goes, put it on my bat card. All right, we all go, that's cheesy and stupid. You know what doesn't happen 5 minutes later? We don't see the Joker brutally murder Jason Todd with a crowbar in slow motion and terrible cracking sounds. You know why? Because those are tonally two different things that should never be in the same movie, except they are within 10 minutes of each other in this movie.
If that much.
If that much. Like, we get the brutal, slow-motion death of Gwen Stacy, and it doesn't have to be like that. I don't care that they killed her. She dies in the comic, but I don't need to see it slow and emotional and painful. And then we hear her, like, whole, like, thing about, like, he's not Spider-Man anymore, and stupid Aunt May even knows he's Spider-Man at this point. Like, maybe you should get out there if you were Spider-Man, Peter. I'm a nurse. And then he watches Gwen Stacy's like valedictorian speech, and this is the movie taking victory laps. This movie thinks it's a fucking comic book prestige movie. Like, yeah, we're taking victory laps. Yeah, this is so powerful and emotional. And then the Rhino shows up. It's like, are you kidding me? You're gonna have the death of Gwen Stacy and this moment where she's giving her speech to rouse Peter, and then you're gonna have I am Rhino.
I don't know what was worse. I guess no, bullshit. I know it's worse. The I am Rhino thing was definitely the worst thing. But then as the Mr. Fierce guy shows up, he talks to Harry and Ravencroft, and they talk about, oh yeah, I want a group, but I want to keep it small. And I have a couple other guys that I'm thinking about or whatever. Let's go.
5 other guys, huh?
Yes.
5 plus you.
Wow. I mean, again, more forced down our throats. Sinister Six setup. Thank God that movie never happened. Because after what you did with this, I never thought I always thought it was a terrible idea. But after seeing this shit fest, thankfully you didn't get to keep going. And yes, and then the Rhino thing shows up at the end with the kid dressed up as Spider-Man.
The CGI is so bad.
The CGI Rhino is awful.
It's terrible. Like, I have seen better CGI in Nintendo 64 Spider-Man games.
Yeah, it's the whole I know like whole fiasco that goes on then.
Yeah, and then you're right, the kid. Like, wait, you mean to tell me the Rhino's gonna kill this kid? Because again, in the comic, Rhino is a guy who's grafted in the suit and kind of driven insane because he can't get out of the suit. This is just a Russian mobster in a mech suit.
Yes.
Why would he feel the need to murder a child who's obviously not Spider-Man?
And why? And he has machine guns, missile launchers, all fired at Spider-Man, by the way, and the cops and everybody. As the movie ends with him swinging around a fucking thing and randomly taking them out, and that's how the movie ends. Because, literally, that's how the movie ends.
Because, you can't have a real ending. We got to set up for that third one. And let me tell you something, Ed. If that third one was made, I would resign from this podcast before I watched it. That's how much I hated this movie. And you know how much I enjoy doing this podcast?
Yes.
I would not be on that episode. And I will never, ever, ever watch this again. And again, I'm not kidding. Get all of your questions for me out of the way here, because once this show ends, I'm not only am I going to say I've never seen this movie, I'm going to deny its existence. And if anyone pushes it, I'm going to say, you must be experiencing the Mandela effect where you think Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 existed, but it really didn't. I'm going to be real obstinate about that.
Jonathan's correct. It's almost like Sony didn't care what was done with this movie as long as it made money. 100% correct. Yeah, and it didn't do well, which thankfully they went ahead and went groveling back to Kevin Feige, which, by the way, I thought that was an interesting thing, where Kevin Feige heard stories about the Amazing Spider-Man 3 possibly happening and pretty much went in there and shut the shit down.
Thank you, Kevin Feige.
Thank you again, Kevin Feige, for everything you did. Jesus. I couldn't handle another one of these two. I agree.
Are we done with this movie? Was there a post-credit scene? Because I did not stick around.
There was no post-credit scene. There was just a bunch of songs that played that were never featured in the film.
Okay.
All right. So we are over and done with that.
Garbage.
And we're pretty much at. We are done with this movie. We're done with this episode. So the moral of that story is, don't watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because it sucks.
No.
It's just, it's. But
yeah, if you are watching this going, I'm on the fence, don't watch it.
No, it's brutal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we had a connection issue.
Well, whatever. We got our thing done. We've got through this. We're through the Garfield movies. Boom. On to bigger and better things now, because we got some cool shit lined up. So thanks for joining us tonight. We super appreciate it again. If you're catching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe. Subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. If you're on Twitter, follow Pop Culture Pros. We're on here every week amongst the other awesome shows. If you're on Facebook, join the Facebook group, Pop Culture Pros, and join Granny's Peach Tea, because we have our own Facebook group that we shout about and talk about comic book shit all day, all the time. So join the daily conversation, because not everything can make the show. All right, well, we will be back next week, though. We'll be talking about some more CW-verse, what's next on Flash and Batwoman and Legends. We will have the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye, because that's dropping next week. We got to finally get an MCU film back in tow, so we're super excited about that. And we will continue our journey through the live. Well, not really. This is the one time we take a step out of the live action Spider-Verse, more of the theatrical Spider-Verse. And we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse next week, where Sony redeemed themselves and did something pretty awesome by hiring Lord and Miller. And a film that a lot of people feel is arguably the best Spider-Man movie made, period. So we'll revisit that. We'll check it out. We'll have a discussion, and hope you can join us next week. We've got the vitriol out.
I feel better.
Good to go.
I feel better.
It was therapeutic.
I got to admit, this was kind of like therapy. Like I watched that movie 2 nights ago. I texted you guys. It wasn't enough. I needed to get my vitriol out. Now I'm feeling better. All right, guys, I've never seen this movie. It doesn't exist.
All right, so be sure to join us next week. Enjoy your week. Have a safe time there, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Later.